Because we love bitches.
Coming soon to this theater.
It's alive. It's moving. It's coming this way.
What's up, you sexy mofos? Now I have to say mofo because now, YouTube's has like this new bad word, non-profanity rule, I think, or something like that. Oh no, wait a second, fuck it, I'm not monetized. Oh no, wait, but then I could get Pops in trouble because I'm on the Madness Network. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, people, thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate you. You are here tonight for the it's the January 10th episode of the horror movie club. The club where what do we do? Well, of course, we watch horror movies. The format of the stream, in case you didn't know, is we always try to pick a movie that's not behind a paywall. Link is below in the description. So when we post the link to the show, you can watch it before the stream if you like, and then tune in and bitch at me for turning you on to like a movie that you hated, or if listening to us talk about this about the film during the stream makes you think, damn, that sounds dope, I want to check that out. And guess what? Link is down below in the description. It's usually well, first of all, I'm never going to send you to a link of an edited movie. That ain't happening. Okay. We're living in, 2023. It's a horrific dystopia. But the one good thing about it is you can still watch horror movies unedited on streaming services. Usually it's like something on Tubi. So there might be commercials, not too many of them, but the movies are always unedited. Tonight's link is actually to a YouTube video, and it's a very beautiful, pristine print of tonight's film, but it does have Spanish hard-coded subs. And if that's gonna make you not watch it, I have to question your street cred as a horror movie fan, because back in the Disney, your boy had to watch, if I wanted to watch, like some Lucio Fulci movies like The Beyond or something like that, all you could get was like a VHS rip of like a Japanese laser disc. So they all had like hard-coded Japanese subs. But yeah, listen to me bitch and whine and moan and whinge. Let me just shut the hell up and bring on my co-host, my boy, your boy, definitely your boy, Matt Butch Cleaver Burke. What's going on, son?
What's up, Brian? Hell yeah, brother. How you doing, man? I'm just chilling, bro. Drinking some big old thing of tea right here. A little under the weather, and can't wait to talk to Lucifer and talk about some Ed Gein tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. And we are going to be talking about Lucifer's book tonight, Ed Gein, Demon Hunter, which Pops has been just going off about for months. And I definitely need to check that out. I'm definitely back in that shit tonight. I got my Indiegogo disbursement, so I can spend it. I can actually spend a little bit of money, which is always a good thing. But also, let me bring on Pops Van Sant, our host. What's going on, man?
Because in honor of Lucifer, we are repping Big Sexy Outdoors tonight, which is the sponsor of our boy Chris over at Laughing Rogue. This is sponsor of the Gone Hunting game. There's about 28 hours left in that campaign. It's fully funded. If you're down with the Gone Hunting game, you've seen us play it on the Madness Gaming stream. It's a good game. It's fun. Go get one. $20. $20.
But Pops, I'm an animal lover, man. I can't kill no animals.
Well, you don't have to kill none. That's why we made the game. See.
Of course, yeah. You know what? I could actually probably do that too. Although I'm a real pussy, like I get mad if I'm playing a video game and they have like guard dogs coming at you and I have to kill the dogs. In Skyrim, I have to install a mod so that like, you know, all the animals, the bears and wolves and shit won't just like straight up attack you. Because mind you, it's totally cool for me to like commit like genocidal acts of like homicide.
Then we got you covered.
Rack up body counts in
then
like triple digits. But
we got you covered. Put me back up there for a second. We got you covered then, see, because we got Slaughterville.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we got Gods of Metal, baby. Okay, so look, you got two other kind of games, 3 different genres. But the coolest thing about the Gone Hunting game is there's actually a little Pops game piece.
Is there really?
There
Wait a second.
Hold up.
Wait a second. You got a mini. Wait. Whoa. Hold up. You have a mini?
Dude, check this out.
Oh, I need me one of those.
That would be in one of the game expansions for Gone Hunting, dude.
Oh my god,
we're having fun, man. We got shit going on.
I know, it's awesome. I am digging it. Oh, and ID Crisis is hanging out. What up, ID?
What's up, guys? I thought I was late.
No,
I got in and you were still doing the intro. I'm like, all right, cool. I can sit back and
Brian was
relax.
Right. Talk about that other guy.
Yeah, what's up, Lucifer? Hey, Matt.
Hey, guys.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, wait a second. That's right. We have wait. That's right. We have a guest. I totally forgot about him. What up, Lucifer?
Hey guys, how's it going? How the devil art thou?
Oh, we're good. We're good, man. We're good. We're looking forward to talking to you tonight about the notorious Ed Gein and of course about your book. You're the notoriously awesome, according to Mr. Van Zandt, Ed Gein, Demon Hunter.
The book that some people really do not want you to read, but I do. I think it'd be lovely if you read it. That's why if people go to my website that you can see down there, if you sign up to my mailing list, you'll get that first issue in digital for absolutely nothing. So there's that little plug that I just thought I'd throw in there real quick.
Now you see, this is something that I always do on my campaigns. You can always get the first issue of Six Gun Gorilla as a free download. What does that show you, folks? That shows you that the creator has confidence in their product. You know,
absolutely.
It's it's like when I was dealing smack on the streets. You know, first one is always for free.
Oh, of course. That's why me and you are the comic book drug dealers. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, man.
Without a doubt. I got multiple copies of this stuff, yo. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, like in 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 over there too, and number 3.
Oh yeah,
yeah, boy.
3. Now look. I'm waiting to read 3 until I get 4. But
but we know Homeboy definitely fulfills.
The way this one ends, guys, will drag you into the rest whether you want to or not.
That's the idea.
The way this one ends, you just go, really, motherfucker? You know, did you guys watch like Sons of Anarchy?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, heard a lot about it. Heard it's great, but never saw it.
Well, see, the way they would end, sometimes the shows would end with something that was just straight out of left field, hit you in the back of the head, you did not see coming, and you just went like, what? That's how this book ends.
Gotcha.
Okay, and you're like, oh, shit, now where can it go? Because the setup is great, but my God, dude, it's like you don't know what's going to happen now. It just like opened up a realm of possibilities. Christian Rossi art, unbelievable, dude. The screw that talking about it shit.
Yeah, bust that shit open, Pops. Bust
That's
that
it.
shit
Show,
open.
don't tell.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Dude,
That's how you make a comic.
look at that. Look at that right there. How many Easter eggs do you think are in there?
Oh my God.
Just in that one panel.
That's a real study on black and white. I know.
You got
I find
Playboy,
black and white very
Miss-
challenging, but that looks so good.
Right? I mean, I'm a black and white stan, right? Everybody knows that about me. I'm a black and white guy. The use of negative space, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's hard for me personally. It's hard to get rid of things that I've drawn, and that's what I feel about like filling things in with black is. So it takes a lot of discipline to rein yourself in and do that, and it looks like he's doing a really good job.
Oh, clearly.
He does a fantastic job.
Look at the graffiti on the walls and
yeah.
shit, guys. Come on, this is great, dude. Look,
Oh yeah.
Oh, it looked like a scene set in the 90s there.
It is.
the best. This is the best series that I've read out of the stuff that has more than one or two.
Yeah.
And Brian, I ain't taking nothing away from yours, bro. But
Oh
this
no,
is
that's all good, brother.
I'm not a big serial killer guy or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
The story
Yeah, me
grabbed me. Christian's killing it. Okay. This book didn't need color. There's sometimes I look at a black and white, man, I wish that was colored. I look at this and I'm like, man, I'm glad they didn't color that.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead, Lucifer.
Sorry, my philosophy on it is color can actually distract you from the story that you're reading because you're spending so much time going, look at those effects that they've done and all that, and you're not really paying full attention to what's going on and the dialogue that's being spoken. And sometimes the tiniest bit of dialogue can reveal such large amounts of story. So to me, it was really important to keep it black and white. Plus, it made it cheaper to make.
Yeah, I mean that helps. I mean, I originally wanted to do Six Gun Gorilla as a black and white book, but at that time, this was like 8 years ago. It was a hard sell. Black and white was a hard sell.
Yep.
And absolutely. I kind of feel like nowadays, because of the popularity of manga, that people are a little more open to it. But when I was a kid, if you gave me the choice between Conan the Barbarian and Savage Sword of Conan, I was all about Savage Sword of Conan. And then, of course,
now you're still hardcore. I gotta say, dude, Brian, your stuff also like leveled up when Preston started doing that art too.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean, I
love your dude. Don't get me wrong, but like because come on, that's when I came on board,
Preston,
right?
Dude. Yeah, well,
also I came on board. I saw a Preston cover and I was like, God damn, I gotta buy that just because it's a Preston cover.
Well, Preston
ended up liking the whole series, obviously, or I wouldn't. Look, guys, you know me. I don't pimp something heavily unless it's something that I really liked and believed in, actually read, liked and believed in.
Yeah.
Okay.
As much as I like Preston's artwork, it was a little. It took me a little bit. I don't want to say it took me out of it. I was just. I was trying to dig this other stuff, and I started to, and I went back and looked at it, and I'm like, I was because it's like I was saying before. I'm not just looking at the comic book and the artwork. I'm trying to get to know the people that created it through the story, and I was really liking this guy. And then you told me he.
Yes,
no longer with us, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But and I one of the first people that talked to me on my stream was Preston too, and I've missed him a lot. I haven't seen him around.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, well, he's getting ready to come back. I was really happy
to see him do that to do that book, and the album cover too. Lucky. It took me right back to high school.
Dude, I'm so lucky. I can't believe I'm working with. I mean, because here's the thing is like I know Preston. And Preston's my boy, right? But then there's Preston Acevedo, the artist,
right?
And I can't believe I'm working with that dude. And now he's gone. I say this ad nauseum. I used to look at Preston's stuff and I would be like, "Oh man, that's so Bisley," or "Oh man, that's so Frazetta." Now I look at his stuff and I just go, "Damn, that's so Preston."
Dude,
yes.
That is high praise.
The other thing, what I want to say is that mesh that happened there when Preston came to Six Gun is the same that I got right in the beginning from actually Lady Satan. Christian Rossi's art on the other book that Lucifer is involved in.
Oh,
And I loved it right then. And then when he came out with Ed Gein, I was like, oh my God, it's just like the pictures from Ed Gein's arrest are, you know, drawn in the book, right? And it's like, dude, like did some research. He knows, he didn't just like draw shit out his ass, right? And then you look at like that room, that room, if you sit and study, because you can study that panel for a while, and I know Lucifer knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, it's very
panel,
film noir. It has like a crime comic feel to it.
And there is
well,
so
not only
much
that,
in
but it's bringing you along to now you're investigating.
Yeah,
That's
see,
the cool part.
that's what I mean. It's like, he doesn't leave anything out. He totally brings you into that story. Christian and Lucifer complement each other so well.
I love that you're talking about one guy named Christian and one guy named Lucifer.
I know.
and how they complement each other.
That's why I keep saying it. I'm just like this Christian Lucifer.
well, that's the thing. You can read a comic book in 15, 20 minutes or something like that, but if you're reading it that fast, you're not reading it right.
Oh, you miss everything.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am completely with you on that one.
You know, and you want to make sure. I mean, mind you, if it's a piece of like trash from like one of the majors right now, you just go right.
But you just look at the cover and then go, "Why did I buy this again?"
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Oh man. And you know what? I actually was going to do a little research because I always try to prepare for these streams.
Yeah.
I was going to do some research on Ed Gein. I mean, not that I didn't know who he was. Everybody kind of knows who he is.
Yeah.
Although they kind of know his cinematic counterparts much better than they know him.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, one of the things that's interesting about tonight's movie, Deranged, is that it's barely known. It's very, very criminally overlooked because there are two other films that were also inspired by the Ed Gein case. One of them is Psycho. The other one is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. Which, if I remember correctly, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was made and released in the same year as Deranged.
Yeah, it was. So, I mean, talk about bad luck, right? Because you're, what up, Sam? You know, because as much as I love Deranged, and I think it's an excellent little horror movie, and I do recommend folks that you do check it out. Like I said, once again, link in the description. It's just that it's not one of the 10 best horror films ever made, and Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre are.
Yeah, exactly. So it's got big competition.
Oh my God, you can't. You know, you're talking about like not just one 800-pound gorilla, two 800-pound gorillas.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why it's largely, very unfortunately overlooked. I had heard about it. I read about it in my monster magazines when I was a kid. You know, shocker. I was a monster kid, still am. You know, I grew up on Famous Monsters of Filmland and Fangoria and Starlog and Castle of Frankenstein. I had the Aurora monster model kits and everything. But 20 years ago, when DVD first came out and was largely collector's medium, they I think it was MGM started putting these out, which I thought were really wonderful. These were their Midnight Movies double packs.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And so I'd already seen Motel Hell. And so like, you know, like yoink, but I'd never seen Deranged before. So this was my first time getting a look at this film. And it really blew me away because it has a lot of dark humor in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's almost accidental too sometimes. I think it just comes through the performance. I don't think they're trying for it.
Oh no, they're definitely trying.
I'm with you on that.
I think
so?
Yeah. Because I think one of the things that makes this movie really so sinister is the fact that it starts out kind of light, and then as it progresses, once you get to the third act, all the humor is gone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think some of the humor comes through, and the reason why I think it's accidental is because of Robert Blossom's being a classically trained actor. And, you know, to me, the humor comes through almost the same way that the humor does in like the Naked Gun movies. Like the reason it's funny is because they're playing it straight.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you don't want the actors always winking at you.
Well,
right?
yeah.
It's always much more. I mean, you look at like the classic comedy duos, like Abbott and Costello, for instance. It's always the straight man that has the hardest part.
Oh yeah,
and who gets the least glory.
Absolutely.
Right. But
Well, yeah, I mean,
meanwhile,
the jokes
they're the
have
one
to-
that's really holding it together.
Yeah, the jokes have to bounce off of something.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a few of them in there, like the seance scene. The scene
That
where,
was kinda hammy,
the waitress
yeah.
is throwing the bodies, you know, at him.
Oh, I love that scene.
Yeah.
So macabre.
And there's just like a scene too,
Like when you're running
when
through
the
the
wife, she's
library, you
like, I
dump
think
the
you need
bookshelf over.
I think you need to date somebody, the neighbor's wife, you know. That
Oh
was kinda-
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's one of the things about Ed Gein that I think is really fascinating, is that he was a very mellow, unassuming kind of a fellow.
Yeah.
When he was arrested, people were kind of like, oh, you know, good old Ed, right? He was evidently very amiable. I think that they lucked out in not getting Harvey Keitel for this, because it was originally Harvey
I can't see
Keitel.
it. I cannot see it.
Neither can I. Neither can I.
Like if
Right?
if Harvey Keitel played Ed Gein in this movie, bearing in mind he's not actually called Ed in this movie, he's called Ezra.
Yes.
It would have been a very different movie.
Oh my God.
Extremely different movie. But Robert Blossom's, he brings something so unique to the role. It's almost as if he literally did a seance himself before they even filmed it, going, okay, Ed, speak to me. But Ed was still alive at that time, so that wouldn't have been the case.
I mean, first of all, he looks like him, right?
Yes.
In terms of his build,
Mm-hmm.
and also this kind of amiability.
He looks very ghoulish too, like the I forgot the icon that's on the cover of the Eerie mags, you know, with the long nose, you know.
Oh,
Looks
are,
like
you,
something.
are you talking about Cousin Creepy?
Cousin Creepy. He looks like Cousin Creepy, and his face is very animated. This actor.
My favorite
his
part.
face is moving throughout this entire movie. He's always making these faces.
Yeah, he does a lot of work with his mouth. Exactly, I was going to say
Yeah.
it with his mouth. My favorite part of him being in this movie is that my wife every year at Christmas,
I know where you go.
alone. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, hey,
Yes.
honey, you know, come check this out.
Yeah. Old
Does
man
he look
Marley, he used to
familiar?
kill people.
Yeah, right. Right. But then it's brilliant casting in that movie too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he does have this natural kind of like, what's going on in that head, really, you know.
Exactly. I'm trying to think what people would know him best from, and I'm guessing it might be, well, that's the thing, is I don't recall him ever having any lead parts other than this. He has memorable appearances in The Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah.
Right? Where Willem Dafoe's Christ shows up at this man's home, and he approaches him and he tells him, "Dude, I know who you are." And then he finds out the next day that he was talking to the guy's ghost.
Yeah.
And it's a very small but very memorable scene.
I remembered him from the Escape from Alcatraz. He's the guy that chopped his own fingers off.
Yes.
Ooh,
I
right.
was good. Yeah, that and
I hope I didn't spoil anything. Like
No,
if
no,
you've got like a
no.
list,
How
got
long has that movie been
four
out
movies
for?
I really want to get in on, and
It's I mean, that's a classic. And then also, of course, his very wonderful cameo in Christine. Talk about that car smell.
Yeah, he's the guy wearing the back brace, right?
Yep.
Still
Ain't
in
no
the car.
smell in the world better than that Something named Pussy.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I remember the character. I had forgotten that he was him that played it.
Oh, he's great in that. Yeah, he's great in that too. I mean, genuinely sinister. He knows that there's something up with that damn car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It smells like a lemon. Greatest smell in the world.
Yep. What's one of the? Well, I mean, boy, there's a lot of interesting things about this. Should we talk about Ed Gein first, Lucifer? Do you just want to give these people just like a very quick education into who Ed Gein was and what he did or didn't do?
So, Ed Gein is often labeled a serial killer, but this really is a technicality. He was more a grave robber or necrophile, not a necrophiliac, though. I do want to point out there is a difference between the two. He lived in Plainfield, Wisconsin, and he grew up in a very matriarchal household with a mother who was a huge religious zealot, and she was extremely abusive from the word go. She had already had one child who was a boy, and she really wanted a daughter, and she ended up giving birth to Ed. And literally from the moment he was born, she would find any excuse to give him some sort of abuse and punish him for not being born a girl. So he put up with this abuse all of his life, right up to the point that his mother died when I think he was in his early 50s at that point. But Ed saw his mother as being a loving person, and that she was just being harsh to him because he was a bad kid, which is often common with people who are victims of child abuse. Yep. They have that rammed into them from the word go, like, you're bad, you're evil, you're no good, everything you do is to spite me and stuff. And after she had passed away, Ed had no one. His father had already passed away. His brother had died under mysterious circumstances, although there is a lot of evidence to suggest that Ed actually killed his brother because his brother was trying to get him to get away from the mother. Like, he had plans himself. He was already seeing someone at that time and saying to Ed, look, I want to get out because our mother is batshit crazy. And Ed obviously didn't like this because he really did have like a strong edible complex, but he was also an undiagnosed schizophrenic. So he would often suffer from headaches. This obviously did a lot of bad things up here, and he had these little idiosyncrasies that people saw as weird, but they thought, hey, that's just Ed. Like, he would often just laugh for no reason, and it sounded like a child laughing. After his mother passed away, he was really down in the dumps. He didn't know what to do with himself. He kept the family farmhouse, and he actually kept her bedroom in pristine condition, as if she had always been there, even after her death. And it got to a point where he decided to dig up her body, and he often tried like little voodoo rituals and stuff to try and bring her back to life. That obviously failed. And from that point on, because of the abuse that he received, he started feeling like, well, hold on, she's right. I should have been a girl, and I want to be a girl. And he did research into like sex change surgery, but that could only be done in Europe at the time, and he couldn't afford to fly over there. So what he then did is he started digging up graves of other people and skinning the corpses so that he could put them together as a suit that he could wear, that he would often wear on the nights of a full moon, where he would go out and start dancing in this suit and envision himself being like a tribal headhunter, like giving a gift to the gods whilst wearing this suit, because that was the closest he could do in order to be a girl rather than a boy. And along the way, he unfortunately, he always had this attraction to women that reminded him of his mother, older women, slightly larger women and stuff. And he met this woman at a bar called Mary Hogan. And she was quite a foul-mouthed woman. She would often talk about all these sexual experiences she had. And because of his mother being a religious zealot, he would often hear the voice of his mother in his head saying, well, she's a harlot, she's a heathen, she doesn't deserve to be on this planet. God took me away from you, but not her. You need to change that. You need to do something about that. So Mary Hogan ended up being his very first victim. And later on, it ended up being his second victim was a woman named Bernice Warden, who ran the local hardware store, who he had known for years, and he had sometimes actually asked her out on dates, saying like, hey, there's a new roller skating rink opening up, do you want to come with me and stuff? And she'd be like, Ed, no, our relationship is not like that. And one day in November, everyone was going out hunting because it was the beginning of hunting season, and he took the opportunity where he went into Warden's hardware and he took ammunition with him, and he asked to look at one of the rifles whilst Bernice got him some antifreeze that he asked for, and he loaded up the rifle, pointed it at her head, pulled the trigger, and he took her body all the way back to the farmhouse, where he proceeded to hang her up, gut her, and decapitate her. Basically, he dressed her out like a deer. And shortly after that, Bernice Warden's son, who I believe was the fire marshal at the time, he went to the store and was like, hold on, mum's not here and there's lots of blood. What do we do? And he looked at the receipt book and saw that the last customer was Ed Gein. He had bought antifreeze, and because of that, he was very quickly caught by the police. And when that happened, he protested his innocence, saying, I'm being framed. And they were like, framed for what, Ed? We haven't even told you why we want to talk to you. And very quickly, he was arrested. He was processed. The news spread like wildfire. He was labeled the butcher of Plainfield and the ghoul of Plainfield. And what really upset some people is that once the trials started, he was actually found to be criminally insane. So he didn't go to jail. He went to a mental health institution. I can't remember which one it was, but they later moved him to a place called Mendota Mental Health Institute, where he died in July 1984 at the age of 81, 82, somewhere around there. So that is roughly the history of Ed Gein.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had always wondered, like, wait a second, did he ever actually kill somebody? Because I always thought he was more of a ghoul. But we know for sure that he had 2 victims at least.
He had at least 2 victims. There's evidence that suggests that he killed his own brother, but there were also 15 young girls around the age of 15, 16 years old who went missing, and the bodies were never found. And the police often, they were looking for ways to try and pin that on Ed. It's not clear whether Ed actually killed those people or not, so therefore it can't really be counted.
Right. It's kind of like with Henry Lee Lucas, right?
H.H. Holmes too.
Yeah. How Henry Lee Lucas had like this insane body count, like the biggest body count in the world, and it turned out that what the police were doing was they were taking their entire filing cabinet of like unsolved cases and saying, hey, did you maybe kill these people too? Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
I guess with the Holmes, though, that was a lot of his cousins. Like that were his age, like younger kids in the little town that he was from. They just were like they went missing and never returned. Yep. So that might be a little different then. But what these guys are probably pinning more stuff on him.
H.H. Holmes was a super criminal, whereas Ed Gein, as we could just, like as Lucifer was, like, the guy that he was describing was very much not a super criminal.
Right.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, bear in mind, Plainfield, Wisconsin is a very small town, very small population. Yeah. And he would often do like odd jobs for people whilst keeping up his farm and stuff. People would often turn around to him and be like, hey, Ed, me and the wife, we want to go out on a date tonight. Can you look after the kids? And he'd be like, yeah, sure, no problem. That's how much they trusted him. So it goes to show that like the scariest part about Ed Gein isn't the crimes he committed, even though they are horrific and brutal. The scariest part is that he was just a nice guy.
Yeah. See, that right there is the main plot of The Minus Man, which it wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a horror movie, but I would say like a character study of. I mean, this wasn't. If you've ever seen it, there's. I don't recall any blood.
Well, the thing about characters like Ed Gein and Norman Bates is that there's something very tragic about them because they're victims first.
Yes, absolutely. This is something I try to hammer home to people. You often get that thing when you make that statement of sort of like he was a victim. And because he was a victim of abuse, that is what led him down this road. You hear so many people go, oh, yeah, but if I'd been through that, I wouldn't have done this. It's like, yeah, but everyone has a different level of resilience.
Yes. And all that, and also a part of it is largely genetic, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So you have to have
yeah.
that. This is how serial killers are made. There is a genetic component, right? Usually some schizophrenia. That plus childhood abuse equals then the manufacturing of a human monster.
You could be hurting. You could be hurting somebody else. You could be hurting yourself, and sometimes that it comes in the form of just like bad decisions and self-destruction.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? It's going to get carried down into the father, so to say.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're quite right. There can be a genetic element to the whole serial killer thing, but not always. I mean, with things like schizophrenia, yes, that is something to do with the genetics, his DNA. The abuse doesn't help with that. I think one thing that people often do is they interchange the words psychopath and sociopath, especially when talking about serial killers. And that is so wrong to do because there are clear differences between psychopaths and sociopaths. Every serial killer is a sociopath. Now, that doesn't mean that every sociopath is a serial killer, mind.
Right,
and
like somebody like Bundy and Gacy, for instance, I would put in the same category as someone like Ed Gein or
absolutely,
or even like a Jeffrey Dahmer.
Now, I want to focus just for a minute on the fact that this book is not about what he did in his life. This book is about what happens after his ass ends up in hell. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So let's not get. This isn't a docudrama. Okay.
But people have to know who Ed Gein is.
Right. I mean, before we go on to the movie, I want to make sure everybody understands. This book ain't based on Ed's life. This is based on after Ed's death, and it's a great story. And if you look right there, you can get the print bundle catch-up. You can get $19, yo. Yeah. Lucifer ain't never been about trying to make $1 million either. He's been about trying to put comics in people's hands. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
This is actually the one that I was looking for. I was going to ask you. I need the first.
You look down here. You see the retail bundle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You can get how many?
Do we have the link for that in the chat, by the way?
10 issues for $43.
Yeah. I'll put it in again.
10 issues of number 3 for $43 plus shipping, yo. 10 issues of number 4 for $43 plus shipping. You see what I'm saying? It's like Lucifer's not trying to make $1 million. He's trying to get his book in people's hands. So for you retailers and for you people that set up con tables and like to help other people sell books, there you go. 10 books for $43.
Hell yeah, man.
You know.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the most difficult thing that we have as indie creators, of course, is always just getting people to know that we exist and know that our books exist.
Yeah.
And so, folks, now you know that this book.
I didn't see the koozie. When did you get the koozies?
Oh no, that's one of the stretch goals, man.
Oh,
so if we make that money, then the koozies are probably going to happen at some point. They'll just happen quicker if we hit the stretch goal.
That amazes me about this campaign. This should be a 5-figure campaign. It should be.
I agree.
There's no doubt.
Okay? I wouldn't complain if it was.
This story is great. This series is great. It's priced right.
I gotta say, it's priced a little too right.
You're not the first person to say that, man.
Well, no, what I mean is
it does happen. I have seen some other creators do that, but I like to see good talent make good money.
Oh, of course.
Oh well, that's the whole thing, though. He's
about the long game.
He's thinking quantity. How many can I sell? I want to sell more. I want to sell more. I want them in people's hands so they tell the next guy about it, and the next guy about it.
I mean,
then you make your.
Of course, you're trying to go across the pond. It looks like you're helping your American audience actually get the book.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I've had to ship stuff across the Atlantic and even to Australia.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
brutal.
Hurts,
It's
doesn't it?
brutal, dude.
So bad.
Fucking hell, does it
Oh,
hurt?
It's you know what really hurts? What really hurts is when you find out that they got the book and it arrived all jacked up.
Yeah.
Oh god,
No,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And then you have to
Yeah.
send them another one, and you have to pay like $28 to like
Yeah.
send another
Yeah.
book to Singapore.
Damn straight.
Dude, I hate that. I send my product to a guy in Australia, and he goes, "Where is it?" I'm like, "It, you know,
Sitting on a,
it says that it
sitting on a
arrived."
ship in a
This
container.
idiot put it underneath his welcome mat. So he's like,
Oh
you
man.
know, like for how many days,
I
however
know.
he's looking for, he's like walking on it every time he goes into his house.
Oh, I'd be madder than a motherfucker, man.
What's up,
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't a comic book. It was something else, really flat. But he's like, guess where I found it?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, the worst, of course, was that book that I sent to Singapore, where like the book itself looked like it had been microwaved or
Mhm.
something, and
Yeah.
and it like I mean, it looked like paper mache, you know,
Yeah.
and the Gemini mailer was pristine, like you would have had
The Gemini mailer was fine.
pristine.
Jeez.
See, I normally
They-
find
they
it's the other
even-
way round. The mailer's normally all jacked up, but
Yes.
somehow, by a miracle, the book survives.
Well, the whole
Yeah.
idea is the mailer is supposed to take the hit,
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's
right?
it is like somebody took it out of there, wiped their butt with it, and put it back in.
It got the drip. It got injected with like insulin.
We've seen that. One
I don't know what
one of the last pinstripe get-togethers I was at, the one artist, he goes, "You got to see a picture of this. It's always this. They're metal panels that we do this stuff on and then auction it off. And this panel looked like it had been crumpled up and thrown away. Like somebody had to have bent it or got run over by how many different cars. And it was such a nice piece." He goes, stuff like that happens all the time, like all the time.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it
work in
does.
the shipping department at any company sometime, and they'll tell you. You
Oh,
wouldn't believe.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, without a doubt. And then, of course, I got to address what one of our first of all, everybody that's tuning in. We see Hex in the chat. Thank you, Hex, so much for turning out. Congratulations again on fulfilling on Nephilim Squadron. I did enjoy the heck out of that.
I have to read it, but I did get it. That
I
was
got it
very
too, brother. I
cool.
still got to read
Same
it.
here.
I got
to read so much stuff. I shouldn't even be on this thing. I should be
haven't read any
reading.
books or worked on my own book in a month.
Right?
Oh,
we
I did. I got the catch-up bundle, so I'm looking forward to that showing up at my door with absolutely nothing wrong with it. No bent pages, no bent corners, no nothing.
Backer number 68, yo. Yeah, everybody, go check
Is
this
that
out.
really? What does that make me?
I don't know.
I'm
Number.
looking.
Did
No.
you get-
Oh,
did
you
get
just
number-
no. I'm right before you.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah,
So
I thought it
so
was gonna be
somebody
right
out
after.
there
Somebody
watching
out there
right
gets
now,
to
you're
be
gonna get the
lucky
magic
69.
number.
Oh,
So don't let
man.
it be somebody else. Let it be you. You want to be able to rock that. Those bona fides.
And then when that book shows up, will it be scratch and snow?
Yes.
Now,
Will it
I
be
just
in
want to say,
Nojorama?
I just want to say, I want to thank the 46 backers, but there should be 47 on there, and sometimes they just won't take my fucking card, man.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
happens.
Lucifer knows is like they sent me a message. Yeah, we couldn't get no money off your card. What you mean? The money's on my card. Take the motherfucking money. No, we can't get no money off your card. You cocksuckers! I get
You
all
just got
this
two
for
backers since the show started, huh?
Oh,
It's just
fantastic.
Yeah.
You
Hell
know.
It's at
yeah.
46 now. It was at 44.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
For all you horror fans, this thing's going to be active for a few more days. You people watching on the replay, all that, go check this out. Like I said, this ain't about Ed's life. This is a story about what happens after Ed dies. It's good stuff, yo.
It's
Hey, Lucifer,
layered
why don't you,
as
why
well.
don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, why not? Why not? So,
Yeah, we already paid our money.
Well, I mean,
Just tell
look,
us the
I got
story.
the first
Look,
two issues
Pops
too,
has
but
been
I mean,
talking about
I already
this.
know the gist, but
Yeah.
Pops has been talking about this so much.
Since the first one. Since the first one came out, we've been covering
since the
this.
first one. So you know, I got my disbursement yesterday, so I'm on top of that shit. But please, Lucifer.
Okay, so the story takes place on August 27th, 1991, which would have been Ed's birthday if he was still alive, but he isn't. He is trapped in hell. He is living in a hell loop, reliving a traumatic moment from his life over and over again. The moment where he digs up his mother's grave, where it all goes wrong. That haunts him so badly. However, he's used to living that moment, and the moment he's dug her up, it starts all over again, and he gets to the same conclusion. However, on this one time, he digs up her grave, opens up that coffin, and there's a hellspawn waiting for him who just says, yeah, my master needs your help. So this hellspawn takes him to Satan himself, who explains that a deranged demon, do you see what I did there with the pun? That a deranged demon has escaped hell. This demon has found a loophole where if they get back to Earth and they can find their original remains, even if it's just a single tiny bone from their body, if they can reconnect with their remains, they can then enter heaven and prove that God is not infallible. And in doing so, that will destroy everything in the universe from heaven and hell and in between. And Satan doesn't like that because he likes existing. He likes punishing damned souls. The problem is, last time a demon escaped and he went after the demon himself. He left hell alone, and all the residents of hell, they started a holy war in heaven in his name. And he does not want that to happen again. So he's thought to himself, who better to catch a deranged demon than a serial killer? But you can't just send any old serial killer out there. If you send John Wayne Gacy out there, he's going to go, all right, let's have some fun. Screw the demon. Let the demon do that thing. I got some fun.
Bondi, for sure. Definitely not.
But Gein, he actually shows some remorse. Right. So Satan asks him to go back to Plainfield, Wisconsin to capture the demon and return it back to hell, which Ed reluctantly does, and he has a companion with him, the hellspawn that asked for his help in the first place. But you can't just send a hellspawn to Plainfield. They'll stick out like a sore thumb. This is a private mission. So Satan disguises that hellspawn as a bloodhound, because every hunter needs a bloodhound, if you ask me. So they go back to Ed's hometown, his old stomping ground. But in order to capture the external deranged demon, Ed must first overcome the internal demons that have haunted him all his life.
Very interesting.
Gripping. Yeah. That's one hell of a pitch, man.
Oh, I do like to try.
Seriously, folks, go check this out. Go back it. It is Pops approved, and I can't wait. I can't wait to check it out, because that's one of the things that I love about guys like Pops. I'm like that too. Is I will not, heap false praise.
Well, first of all, you guys know I don't do reviews in the first place.
Right.
I don't do reviews. I might give you a little private, hey, I loved it or whatever. But I don't come out here. I don't do review shows. I don't do none of that, because I promote what you guys do. I'm looking at what you're giving me, like on this campaign, and I'm going, damn, that looks pretty good. I should tell people about that. I can't put no guarantees on it, and what I like, you might not like. It's like I can't get in your head and make you do anything. I can't make you spend your money. I can't make you like it. I can tell you I love the story. Right. Okay. I love it so much that I won't read number 3 until I get number 4.
That's high praise indeed. That's high praise indeed.
Oh yes.
But
sorry,
you guys know I don't do that. So if I'm out here talking about somebody's book, it's something that I've read and that I'm now invested in. I'm not just like giving it a review.
Right. And that is the highest praise that you can get as a comics creator, is when people are invested in your story and in your characters, and they let you know, and they're like, oh, I can't wait to find out what happens next.
And I don't know why this book doesn't get enough love, dude. You guys like it, share it, tell people about it, because
maybe if Pops was to do a review. Wait, you don't do those.
well, here's the thing also that I do want to mention. I can't back all the stuff that I've wanted to back in this last year for sure, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Not even close. But one thing I always do, and also folks that you can do, is you can share the link on your Twitter, on your Facebook.
Oh, yes.
And it costs you nothing. And I promise you, it does make a difference. Because once again, the biggest obstacle that we face is exposure, just getting people to know that we and our works exist. And,
look at that.
Yeah.
1750. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah!
That's what we like to see.
Oh,
I'm with you, Brian. Like, that really is one of the biggest challenges of being an indie creator. But I'm a sadomasochist. I like to make it worse by doing things about serial killers that make people go, I don't know if I should back that book.
See, and this is the whole thing. One of my corny sayings from when I started doing this, I used to tell everybody, exposure is king. And I didn't even have a fucking platform back then. I had a Facebook group. I didn't have a YouTube channel, nothing, right? And I was trying to be bigger than I was because I wanted to be where I am now. And then I still want to be bigger still, but not me, the network, the amount of shows that we put out here, the amount of eyes we get on people's stuff.
Yep.
That's the winner. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, we've had 2 books funded on the stream.
On your phone? Yep.
Yeah, and I insist that both of those books would have gotten funded nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they got funded on my stream, I got like a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Dude,
I was just like,
in all honesty, a book like this isn't really up my alley.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
After listening to and meeting Lucifer, it's one that I want to get into.
Yeah.
And see, that's what I was saying.
It's like this. It's not just evil and gore for evil and gore's sake. I mean, if you're
that's boring.
Making him a sympathetic character is not an easy thing to pull off unless you've got the right plot and the right motivation. It sounds like it's going to be really fun. And in honor of putting your demon spawn into a dog, I had posted in private chat and in regular chat a nice piece of Dana Gould stand-up on the Son of Sam talking to a dog and how that happened in the first place. And, because that dog, has to start out as a puppy.
Did you ever see? I don't know if you got this. May be a little obscure, but although I did see it referenced in the Blumhouse movie Black Telephone. Have you guys ever seen Davy and Goliath?
Oh yeah, sure.
No, I can't say I have.
No. It was it's an old claymation thing from back in the days.
That was like it was a Christian thing. It was like a Sunday school sort of a thing, but it was Lutheran. I think it was a Lutheran church that that produced it.
Looked a lot like Gumby.
Yes, yeah, like very crude kind of a stop motion animation, and somebody did a version.
Not that high. It was like from your Aardman Animations Brit pals over there.
Oh yeah,
nothing like that.
Yes, is Nick Park Sir Nick Park yet? By the way, has he been knighted?
Not that I'm aware of.
He should be.
Yeah.
Damn straight, he should be. Damn straight.
I love that dude.
Everybody watching on the replay, if you're not on board with this, look, like I said, it's not a story about Ed Gein, the serial killer. It's a story about Ed Gein, the demon
hunter.
Okay.
Right, and that's one of the other things that I started shying away from it because it had that demon hunter aspect to it, because it was like, okay, it's a derivative of a derivative, because we see Jack the Ripper, vampire killer, and that might be good because there was another the vampire killer thing happened, and then it's starting to have all of these tangents. But I'm under the impression that this is not that. It's not a
Oh no, this is obviously very much its own animal. Although I do have to admit that I did one project I always wanted to do was a very similar plot, except instead of Ed Gein, it would have had John Holmes. John 14 inches.
Oh, yes.
Except once he got to Earth, he wouldn't be doing his job. He'd be off like doing porn and like snorting.
like Savage Dragon.
Right.
And the
Remember the
devil
Savage
would
Dragon?
be like, I set this guy up there. He's not getting the job done. What the hell? And I have to address this comment from Keith in Comics. First of all, Keith, thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate you. He says, I both love and hate this guy's accent. I hate to break this to you, but we're the ones with the accent. The accent,
Yeah, right now,
yeah, Lucifer, speak American, damn it.
Okay, I'll try, but I can't promise anything.
That's not bad. Not bad. Good, that's good. Now do Chicago.
Hello.
Do it.
Chicago, Boston.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't think I could do that.
What part of what part of Great Britain are you from?
I'm from a little place called Bournemouth, which is right in the south, on the coastline, smack bang in the middle. It's a lovely little seaside town. It's got like a little bit of horror history related to it as well. I mean, if you've ever read Alan Moore's From Hell, the book actually begins and ends on Bournemouth Pier, which I can walk to in about 15 minutes. About 20 minutes from here is the grave where Mary Shelley is buried.
Okay.
And didn't Peter, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong about this. I think Peter Cushing was very fond of the place, used to vacation there.
Yep. Lots of horror actors are. I mean, I did a convention. Oh, this is going back like well over a decade ago. It was myself, and there were a couple of the guys from Hellraiser. So Simon Bamford, who played Butterball, he was there, and I was talking to him and stuff, and he was like, "So where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, Bournemouth." He's like, "Oh, I love Bournemouth. I go there all the time. I wish I could live there."
Oh,
no. Maybe
yeah,
one of these days, who knows? The real estate market could open up.
Exactly.
Still very angry. Still very angry, actually, at the British for not making Peter Cushing, Sir Peter Cushing.
Yes, I second that motion, 100%.
And also not making Barbara Steele, Dame Barbara Steele. Thank you very much.
Oh, good call.
But you know, we'll let that shit slide. Now, one of the things that is great about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre poster is got to be like the best exploitation poster ever,
easily,
right?
Easily.
The blurb is easily the best exploitation blurb ever. Who will survive and what will be left of them? I think coming in at a close second is the poster for Pieces, right? Which shows like a bloody chainsaw, and the blurb is, "It's exactly what you think it is."
However, I do also have to throw Last House on the left in there, because that does have an iconic poster, and the whole "it's only a movie, only a movie." Like, come on, that's just fucking genius.
It is. It is. But yeah, no, I mean, one of the things that is mentioned in at the beginning, of course, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is that it's based on a true story. It's not really, but why let the truth get in the way of a good story, or saying that something's a true story when it's not? I thought about doing the same thing with Six Gun Gorilla too, based on a true story.
Loosely based on a true story.
Well,
loosely with like 10 quotation marks around.
Quotations.
But this is actually the closest, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen the more recent Ed Gein film. Is that the one that has?
That was the one with Steve Railsback.
Yes, I love that movie. That was made in 2000, and it was originally called In the Light of the Moon, but they changed it at the last minute and just called it Ed Gein.
Take me to the moon.
I've never seen that. You would say that it's worth investigating. That's worth.
Absolutely. In fact, in the book, The Hellspawn that I mentioned, his name is Ezra Railsback, and that's an Easter egg. Ezra to Deranged, and Railsback to that Ed Gein movie with Steve Railsback in it.
Yeah, in fact, pulling up on IMDb. Look at Steve Railsback's picture, and you can see the same face as Robert's Blossoms.
Yeah,
it's a real shame that Blossom. He very underrated actor. Somebody that never really had a career that he deserved. Probably best known, of course, for playing Charles Manson in Helter Skelter, which was a TV movie about the Tate LaBianca murders and the subsequent trial. One of the things that's interesting about Deranged, how it opens with this this conceit of the narrator.
Yeah.
This fellow explaining to you, this reporter, telling you, the names have been changed, to protect the innocent, et cetera, et cetera. Now, immediately I realized, just from looking at this actor, this movie was shot in Canada. Mm-hmm. Because this is a Canadian actor who was in quite a few of David Cronenberg's films.
Yeah.
Specifically Videodrome. He's the guy who he plays one of the villains, actually, that turns James Woods' character into a killer. You might remember he's the guy who gets shot and his body starts breaking apart, starts bursting with cancerous tumors.
Yeah, I remember a little bit.
Yeah. I'm looking that up on IMDb. I'm seeing something that says it's in development. Apparently, there is a Videodrome that is in development.
Oh God!
No. This is not allowed.
No, I know. I just clicked on the first thing, but
I thought that whole remake thing was over. I thought RoboCop kind of put a stop to
my
that
lordy
nonsense.
So bad.
We could only wish. It was nice to have a dream that remakes were over.
Well, I mean, mind you, I'm not anti-remake. I was just anti-remaking shit just because it was successful in the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, come on, Cronenberg made one of the greatest remakes to ever exist in The Fly.
Oh, yeah. Better than the original.
Yeah, and then you've got The Blob. Even Scarface with Al Pacino is a remake of a 1930s movie.
Yep, with Paul Muni.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
The Blob is where I went. What is that chick's name? She was just so cute. What is her name?
Oh, Shawnee Smith.
Shawnee
Smith,
also exactly. It was just right on the tip of my tongue. Man, I was like, when I saw that movie, I was like, man, the little cheerleader is cute. But and when that came out, it was like 80 something. We're basically the same age. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Chuck Russell did that. That's better than the original. Of course, I mean, to me, the trinity of the remakes are better than the originals are John Carpenter's remake of The Thing,
of course,
Fly, and then a lot of people sleep on it, unfortunately. Although I do think it does at least get some recognition, is Philip Kaufman's remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is absolutely terrifying.
Not the most recent one.
No.
You mean the one with Jeff Goldblum?
The one with Jeff Goldblum and Leonard Nimoy.
Sutherland, and
Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland, right. Yeah, right when that dog comes.
That movie's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah, much better.
Oh, much better. And that's not to say that that there's anything wrong with the original. It's just like the original one that doesn't make me
attempt.
Yeah, and I could still watch the original and enjoy it, but it doesn't put my stomach in knots.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And let's face it, if a horror film is putting your stomach in knots, it's doing its job. If you're having a physical reaction.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, I remember, it would happen a lot more when I was younger, but I would feel it as almost like I would feel it in my spine. Like something interrupted the connection that I had with God. Well,
I love that. Oh, that's
like that one. It just sticks to your head like peanut butter on the roof of your mouth. You can't get it off. Reanimator was like that. It was like, what?
Yeah.
It was because it was a freight train that just kept going and going and going.
Crazier and crazier and crazier as you're going along. Yeah, man. And let's face it, that is one of the things that's really wonderful about watching a movie like that, or something like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like you're on a freight train that's being piloted by a lunatic, and there ain't no getting off. There ain't no getting off. Certain filmmakers more than others. Jess Franco, when his movies are good, have that quality where you're just like, you're in the hands of a maniac now. Good luck.
So this Leslie Carlson, to speaking about remakes, he was in The Fly. I guess he was the abortion doctor.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of where Gina Davis gives birth to that bouncing baby maggot. Although I think that's Cronenberg that's actually holding the maggot.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, he was in a lot of Cronenberg's films. I think he was also.
Yeah, and the next time you watch A Christmas Story, he's the guy that sells the Christmas tree. I'll tie it to your roof for you.
And since we're mentioning Christmas Story, that makes me think of Bob Clark, which makes me think, of course, of
Black
the
Christmas.
writer and a Black Christmas, and also Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, because this was written and co-directed by Alan Ormsby. Alan Ormsby and Bob Clark, unfortunately, had a falling out when they were making Popcorn. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's a real hoot. But it was made, I think, in the early 90s when horror was verboten. This is that time that the example I always give was of Dee Snider from Twisted Sister made a horror film called Strangeland, and was given strict instructions from the studio that when he went to promote the film on television and radio to not mention the H word. Which is pathetic, but yeah. And so then you had, which isn't to say that you didn't have some kick-ass horror films like Silence of the Lambs, which also has a character that is inspired by Ed Gein, Buffalo Bill.
Yes, that's right. They actually took parts of Edmund Kemper and Ted Bundy and put them into Buffalo Bill as well, but they were like very tiny things. The main reason for Buffalo Bill's existence in Silence of the Lambs was Ed Gein.
Yes, and that's why he always says, it puts the lotion on its skin is because and why does he want these bigger girls? Because he's a bigger guy, and he's going to. He's making a suit. He's making a suit out of the skin of his victims. Frankie, says kind of, sort of inspired by. Well, I mean, look at Psycho.
Just a little bit.
Right. You look at Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and those couldn't be more different from the true story. So it was, with Norman Bates obviously keeping the body of his of his mother around, which also one of the things that this movie couldn't help but make me think of was the William Faulkner story, the Southern Gothic tale, A Rose for Emily, in which you never see it, but you end up knowing that this guy has been keeping his mother's corpse in her bed because you find out because of one single gray hair. Actually, that one
scene you were showing, it looked like a miniature of the room.
Well, you could
right there.
Yeah. Well. You can also tell in some of these scenes that there's a wall, but there's nothing on the other side of it, like at the very end. The budget on this had to have been next to nothing.
Yeah.
I like the shots though. Like some of the, I like the way the
composition's fantastic. Yeah.
The way they use their budget is great. They really know what to focus their budget on, and that's setting up like little bits of the set and making sure everyone's dressed okay and everything. Because I mean, like you see certain parts, like there's a part where Ezra's got this head from a corpse that he's dug up. And this head looks fucking phenomenal. And he's plucking out the eyes and sawing off the top of the head. And it looks absolutely fantastic. It's very chilling, very disturbing.
Yes.
Right. But yet the funeral scene for his mother, the only thing they've spent money on is the coffin. Everything else is made out of cardboard.
Right.
You know, it's
That was
been
a good
filmed
shot.
in their grand's like fucking basement or something.
Right.
Really good shot too. And he's just like leaning over, like left to right, talking to him. And he's got it all there too. And the mother's profile sticking up out of the coffin. That was one of my favorite shots too in the movie was the funeral.
In that scene where there's a couple of times where the camera pushes towards this corpse face. You know what I mean? And it's sort of like, you know, the director is grabbing you by both of your ears and making you stare at this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Closer
Fulci is a guy.
closer and closer.
Yeah, Fulci is a guy that would always do that. He'd like grab you by
Yeah.
the back of your head and go, "Look, case upon the heart," just push your face, the maggots in the filth.
That scene was scary when he digs her up and she's, you know, communicating with him. It's probably, I think, the scariest scene in the movie for me.
It is. I think so too. It's eerie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
ghoulish.
who looks. I'm looking at pictures of Ed Gein and I'm seeing. I know there's a movie star out there that looks more like him than who they've picked so far.
Well, it
I
wasn't
think Gary
Harvey
Oldman.
Keitel.
And
I
one of
Gary
them,
Oldman,
I've
dude.
seen that, and one of them, Gary Oldman, I can see it. But there's
That robot guy looks a lot like him though. Like from the other Ed Gein, the movie Ed Gein that came out in 2000. He looks a lot like him.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out now. One of the things I really liked about this is the fact that it really deals with this character's pain.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is something that you don't really get in the other films. Clearly, you know, Leatherface, for instance, is having the worst day of his life. And he's very much motivated by fear. You know, who are these kids? Where are they coming from? How many of them are they? Why do they keep walking into the house like lemmings?
But also with Leatherface, they really amp up and almost characterize the sociopathy that's going on in that mind behind that dead skin mask.
Right. Yeah, but you also understand with Leatherface that he was raised in this family.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so this is just normal to him.
Yeah,
it would be normal to you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
Which
with
is
Gein,
really
you have to do that,
terrifying
man.
idea.
You have to sell that, like the whole thing that happened with him and his mother, to make this story, you know, like have weight to it. And I think with this, they set the ground rules for that in the beginning, and then they start to introduce some of the humor in little areas, and then it gets a little different, you know.
And the way they
when
introduce
she dies, it's kind of violent. At least in the movie, it is. I don't know. I've never seen anybody just all of a sudden spit up that much blood. Which I have a question about the blood, but that's later.
Interestingly enough, the effects in this film were done by 3 artists, one of whom was Alan Ormsby himself, and the other a barely known, very obscure special effects makeup artist by the name of Tom Savini.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, it's specifically about the blood. I remember, and it might have been something that I either heard you say or heard somebody else say at some point, where there was a point where blood looked one way in cinema, and then all of a sudden it started.
That was
realistic.
Hart. That was Hart D. Fisher. Yeah.
Okay, this was before that.
Yeah. By the way, Hart, what up if you're watching? My brother Chris, of course. What up? I was. By the way, check out his channel, American Horrors. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I find it highly amusing that when he has Cannibal Apocalypse on there, it's not Cannibal Apocalypse, it's Invasion of the Flesh Hunters, which is
the alternative title. Yeah.
The OG title.
Yeah. Like I had the one I had on VHS. I'm like, I had that on VHS. Like that's my homie Chris.
Oh, that's such a good movie as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did that on here some months ago. But man, Roberts Blossom does just a great job of making Gein sympathetic, funny, also at the same time, right? Like a local cop, local constabulary pull him over. And it's and he thinks he's been busted. Like you know what you were doing, right? Like, what do you think you're doing? It's like, no, you're doing 50 and like a 35. What the hell? What's that smell? It's like, it's like a. It's like a.
Oh, it's a hog.
Yeah.
He's like, I got a hog right here.
Bury that damn thing.
They predicted what happened to Dharma before Dharma was even born.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that scene was gross as fuck right here. This one,
gnarly.
I was about to nod into it. I just finished eating tacos too. I was like, I just barely finished. I was like, thank God. He scoops it up, puts it in the mug. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. This is one of those films where I knew I would. I've seen it before, so I made sure to have dinner like well before.
It's not even like in this particular shot here. It's not even what that head is made of.
Right.
It's the expression on that face.
Right.
That mouth, especially.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, like they don't look realistic enough, right? And I'm just like, well, if you've ever been to like an open casket funeral, I had never been to one before until my friend Tom Bonnet passed away. This guy I knew from my depression bipolar support group. And my mother was always like, "Oh, I don't understand. The Catholics have these, the open caskets," and I went and I understood it immediately because I looked at the body and was like, "That ain't Tom. That's not my friend."
Eerie, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. It's I don't understand it either.
No,
I'd rather see pictures of happier times and leave it at that. Well, in fact, don't show me. Just
well, yeah.
Put your cigarettes out and what's left.
I understand. You see, I had the opposite reaction because I was just like, oh God, that's nasty. Just put that in the ground and get it out of here, right? I think Jewish folks have the right attitude and just like they plant their dead like fast, right? But then I understood. I was like, oh, okay. Right. This is so that you realize that what's going in the ground is not your friend or a loved one. It's a piece of meat. Boy, doesn't he cleans up nicely, doesn't he?
He does indeed. Bless him.
But by the way, that's a picture of our writer, director, makeup artist, Alan Ormsby. If you've seen Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, you'll recognize him. I think the stash is real, but everything else is makeup. So this was clearly done as like a little bit of an in joke. And then there's the scene of the seance, and that's very clearly meant to be amusing. There he is doing that thing with his lip. Right, he's just like stacking on.
He said some funny line. He's like, "Yeah, she's kind of fat on, like hanging off her arms. I think I like that." He said some shit like that. I was laughing my ass off.
And like when the neighbors are suggesting him, like, "Oh, maybe you should be dating now. Have you thought about dating this person?" And he's all like, "No, because women are evil. That's what mother told me. All women are evil." And then they mention that one person. He goes, "Oh, I can trust her because she's fat." And he keeps repeating it over and over again. Like, you got to be able to trust
man. That's how it works. No, it's a greatest held secret. I think it would have been funny if his mom started singing the lyrics to Big Bottom from Spinal Tap.
Big Bottom, talk about mud flaps, my girls got 'em.
Yeah.
Big Bottom drive me out of my mind. How could I leave this behind?
Yeah, he leave this behind.
Yeah, baby. So then of course he gets his first victim, who's a cocktail waitress, a little over the hill, sexually promiscuous, we're told. And I thought this was a really eerie scene. Now you can tell also that the budget for this was very low because when he slashes her tire, you see him kind of sawing, and then you see that the tire has been deflated. You don't see him actually like slash the tire, so they weren't going to sacrifice an actual tire.
Oh hell no! that tire intact.
Yeah, and what I think is so effective and so eerie about this scene is how he gets her in the house, which is he just leaves her in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so she just walks into the house that like, what the hell is up? And she walks into the ninth circle of hell.
Yeah, her reaction to all this once like she sees everything is I think one of the more accurate reactions. Not screaming.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just standing there and you can,
Just being in pure shock.
What is going on in her head? What be going on? You know, like,
and then realizing that one of them isn't quite dead.
Yeah.
Yup. Yeah.
That bit, like, I think that's so haunting.
It is.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is
so do
absolutely
I.
brilliant.
Yeah,
And
just the amount of time it takes for her to process everything that's going on, and like I say this all the time, we never lie so well and so effectively as when we're lying to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Which you can see her doing that.
Yes.
This isn't real. This is there's no way this is real. What even is this? You know?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I think that's 100% spot on because it's not your usual horror movie reaction.
Right.
No. And a lovely thing about scenes like this one is it really highlights something that the movie does well, where the atmosphere from scene to scene can change, but the tone doesn't. The tone is consistent and flat all the way through the movie. There's not one moment where you go, oh, tonally, that shifted a little bit. It's the atmosphere around each scene that shifts, but you don't mind because of that consistent tone.
Yep. Yeah. It's an incredibly well-made film. Like I said,
better than Exorcist 2.
To be fair, a kick in the teeth is better than Exorcist 2.
Oh,
that wasn't
words.
That was an inside joke. It just got thrown out of the ring, man. Everybody's in on
I'll be
it.
the first one because because Lucifer, we did Exorcist 2 like the other week.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. How much were the therapist bills after that?
There was a little bit of debate.
Hey, look.
That?
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's one of
debate.
those things where when people point out everything that's wrong with the movie, I don't deny it.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I'm just like,
that's really what throws you for the loop.
And the reverse is true as
these
well.
things are all bad, then why are you,
Because
the reverse is true as
like
well.
Defending Biden. Stop doing that.
But the reverse of Exorcist 2 is true as well.
All of these things are wrong, but still.
Right.
Look, I'm not a fan of Exorcist 2, but people can point out good little bits about it. I'll be like, that bit is good. It just doesn't make up for the entire fucking thing.
See, I love that movie in a almost irrational way, probably an irrational way. I love it the same way I love Zardoz, right? Because it's very similar.
I get exactly what you mean.
Right? Because, and like I said, it's like you got two John Boormans. You like proper filmmaker John Boorman that made Point Blank and Deliverance and The General and Hope and Glory, and then you've got batshit crazy, probably on acid, John Boorman that made Zardoz and Exorcist 2, right? And they probably hired proper filmmaker John Boorman to do Exorcist 2. It's like, guess what? You got Zardoz John Boorman instead.
Like his entire career is just a pro and cons list.
No.
Of his movies are like, on one hand, we should hire him because of all these great
Zardoz.
movies. On the other hand, it's a roll of the dice because
Russian roulette Boorman.
I wouldn't change a thing
He ain't
about
gonna bore you.
Zardoz. It's just like those two movies have way too many ideas. Just jammed into way too small of a space.
I agree with you on Zardoz when you say that. With Exorcist 2, I don't think it's the case of it has too many ideas. I think it's the case of we are watching a man have an actual breakdown. It's just he's behind the camera when it happens.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. I love the pieces, but it's one of those things where I'll defend that movie, but I won't defend it like
I never realized it was so easy to palm the wheel on someone else's stream like that. Better than Exorcist 2. Well, all right.
Okay.
Hey, look, look, everyone has that movie that most people hate, but they love. Look, for me, it's a movie like Revenge of the Radioactive Reporter. That is not a good movie whatsoever, and I fucking love it.
Is that a newer film or is that an older film?
No, it's a Canadian movie from, I want to say, 1991, and it's basically a rip-off of Darkman crossed with Captain Planet in a strange way.
Sounds interesting.
And when I say crossed with Captain Planet, I mean the whole we need to care about the environment. That's the Captain Planet element of it, where they really push that home so many times. But everything else is this is like if Troma made Darkman and were based in Canada.
Right. I mean, then you have just genuinely awful movies or accidentally entertaining, like On Deadly Ground, which is like Steven Seagal's Environmentalist movie, his directorial debut.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
And it's Boris.
He's gonna save Alaska. How? Blowing it the fuck up? Blowing up an oil rig?
Too much oil out here getting drilled.
I don't know if anybody's thought about it already, but have you ever had one of those ideas that you think could take off great if it was handled just the right way? And it's just one word. Right. Woke man. Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like, the environmentalist Canadian.
Pretty much describes every superhero comic right now.
But as it would be like that as a satire, of course.
Right. No, well, we're gonna get that, and we're gonna get that. It's gonna be what's his why am I blanking on his name now? Formerly Ellen Page.
Oh yeah.
Elliot.
Oh,
Elliot Page. Yes.
Yeah.
Elliot Page Superman. It's coming. I called it. Take notes.
Challenge accepted.
Superman spelled.
Hey, I called it that they were going to screw. I called it that they were going to screw Henry Cavill. I called it that they were going to keep Ezra Miller. So
Superman.
I'm having a very disturbing trend of being right about these.
Right, wakes up in the middle of the night. He's like, he gets these visions.
Yeah, like Nostradamus. Yeah, I'm just staring into like pans of water.
He's on D again. He's having one of those D episodes. The guy with the million eyes in the Bible. He's reading to me about how Cavill's gonna get screwed over. Superman's gonna be spelled Supermeh.
You keep dropping new prophecies every week, dude.
Super person. I know.
Superman.
It's kind of, yeah. Yeah. Frankie No says I saw Exorcist 2 last week. It was interesting. That's one word for it. I like Morricone, but not for that movie. I love the Morricone score to that. But the version that you saw, the director's cut, doesn't have the. Unfortunately, doesn't have.
Is that that's the surfer music they should have been playing when he was riding on the back of the Locust?
Yeah. Oh yeah, brushed by the wings of Pazuzu. Oh, those scenes are so fucking awesome. Oh
yeah,
man.
the dinner scene from Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah,
born right here.
Yeah, made the same year. I love the dinner rolls in the the skull.
Yes.
I didn't notice that. Oh man.
The what was it? Where were they from? I think were they an Argentinian soccer team that were like stranded in the Andes?
In the Andes, yeah.
Right.
That was alive.
Yeah, and they said that they evidently became very casual about the cannibalism. Like they would get up in the middle of the night and have little midnight snacks, and they were like using like human skulls as bowls, and
that they were gone that long.
Yeah.
No, like what I mean, I'm saying like in the movie, there's the where they have to come to terms with that, but then they run off and they go looking for help. I don't remember seeing this scene.
No. I'm talking about the actual incident,
right?
But
that's what I mean. Like they were gone for that long that you actually had to go back for seconds and thirds.
Oh yeah. And interesting thing about scenarios like that is basically when people wait for help, they die. And
Yeah, right.
when people are like, fuck it, I got to help myself, they survive. Oddly enough, children are the best at surviving, being lost in the wilderness, because they eat when they're hungry, they sleep when they're tired, they drink when they're thirsty. They don't try to power through.
Yeah, but they've also got an advantage. They can get in and out of a chair without going, ugh. Like, you put me in the wilderness with a kid, of course it's going to fucking survive. That feels like the Duracell bunny. It's got way more energy than me. The only way it's not going to survive is if I kick it out of the plane before the plane crashes. You know, so
I know. It's
I love kids, by the way. Like, I'm not saying I would
No,
kick
I love
them out
kids.
of the
I love
plane,
kids. No, I love
even
delicious.
though I do find that imagery really funny.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually do it.
No, I love kids too, with a little bit of horseradish sauce.
I was
and
gonna
little...
say, there it is.
Yeah, they make the perfect meal.
Oh yeah, and then he starts showing off his craftsmanship. He's like, "See, I got talents."
Yeah,
And he's like made a drum out of belly skin, and he's got a what is that, femur? I think.
Yeah, it'd have to be a femur. Yeah.
Pop back in just in time. Bone drums, yeah.
It's crazy to think that Gein was alive when this movie came out, you know?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember when he died, it was one of those cases where you were like, that motherfucker was still alive?
He's still alive?
Yes, I get exactly what you mean by that.
Or when, like, Pol Pot died, right? Or when they found Pol Pot, you know, the guy that was responsible for the genocide of 2 million people in Cambodia. When they found him, I was like, wait a second, that guy was still alive?
He's like, what up?
And it was just
Still alive.
because you would think there would be just like the world's biggest manhunt after the guy,
right?
But no, not the case. But yeah, that's a really eerie scene where she starts throwing the bodies at him.
I thought it was kind of funny, to be honest.
I love the fact that they slow it down as well, just to really let it hit home, just in case you blink and miss it.
Yeah.
Like, by the way, she's throwing corpses. That's how desperate she is. She's like, I want to get away from this fucking madman. What have I got? I've got Granny here. she can go first.
Based on your budget, I'm thinking they did that in one take, and we're very happy that she hit the camera.
Oh yeah, for sure, really, for sure. Without a doubt.
It's Uncle Creepy right there, man.
Right. Yeah,
And,
no, he would have been a great cousin Creepy for sure.
That the bit where she finds her boyfriend's truck, and they're not there. That took me right back to Drew Barrymore in the front yard in Scream.
Yes,
so close.
Yeah, and it really hits home too, because I mean, she's just a kid.
Yeah,
you know, she's so young. And one of the things also that's very effective in this film is the Canadian locations, because you've got these vast, empty-looking, frozen landscapes that are very lonely and of course eerie in their own way. And yeah, I mean, the way he just dresses her like a deer, man.
Yeah.
It's truly horrific, man. And just like, you know, the composition of some of these shots too, just really very effective. It really is a movie that deserves way more attention
than Exorcist 2. No, but for real though. So I was putting some product together upstairs, and my wife was watching it with me. Yeah, just that very last part, and you know, where they walk into the kitchen or walk into the house and they see him there.
Yeah,
and that's a good question. She has like, what would you do if you walked in and saw there he is, Pittsburgh boy done good, Tom Savini.
Yeah, man.
What would you do? What would your reaction be? She's like, I would turn around and walk like right back out. You know, I'm like, I don't
didn't
know.
see this.
It depends on if you're strapped or not.
Right. I'd be like, well, I was, I'll be waiting for you at the car when you finish doing whatever it is that you're doing here.
When you're finished backing out slowly with your piece in your hand.
Oh my God. Oh.
And then when he's cranking the grinding the organ, basically is what that is. It's like an organ grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's frantic. Just going around.
Because he's getting worked up. He's getting
well, I'm not sure how those
aroused. I don't know.
Is it one of those things where when you crank it, there's a weighted wheel in there or something that kind of keeps it going after you're done cranking it?
I don't think so. I don't think it's like it's not something that you want. You're asking, is this something that you wind up?
It looks like it, kind of. But you remember those old SST toys like Smash Up Derby or something like that, and they had that big weighted wheel that if you pulled the ripcord out and it would just go for a while.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. It's something like that,
right?
Kind of like winding it up, but because it seemed to play even after he was done with the. I just don't know how those things work. But his physical action,
choice.
His physical action of being frantic about it, like like my dog getting excited when he's going to go outside.
But this is another thing that really makes this film creepy is the fact that you've got no real score except for right at the beginning when the titles are playing. All the music that's happening, it's happening in the actual scenes itself, like with the organ grinder or stuff, or when he's at the bar, there's some music in the background there. So it's not quite a documentary feel, but it's so close. It makes you feel more like you are watching it vicariously as a bystander.
Right. And you get that also, of course, and even more so in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's one of the things that makes that film so disturbing. It's also one of the things that makes Night of the Living Dead so disturbing.
Absolutely.
These are all films that benefited greatly from their low budgets.
Well, right. And from narration, there's the reporter aspect in this.
Yeah.
And then
in the same
of course
scenes,
in Night of the Living Dead, you see the news on the TV, and that
Grey Wolf
aspect of realness.
Yeah, it's just tremendously effective. Folks, once again, if you want to check this out, link is in the description below. That's to a version that has hard-coded Spanish subtitles. You can also find it on DVD. Also, Arrow, I believe, put out a beautiful Blu-ray.
Oh, that Blu-ray is stunning. Let me tell you.
That's what these screenshots are from.
I have to tell you, this is just a little. I thought it was funny. It's one of those cute things that when your wife or girlfriend says something that's stupid, but it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Because the subtitles are on, and they're clearly Spanish.
Right.
And she says to me, she goes, "Why are you watching a movie in Spanish?" I don't think that it might not have been on long enough for her to hear anybody speaking English. I'm she those are subtitles.
Yep.
She just got home from work, and I'm like, all right, settle in.
Matt, what did you think of Deranged?
I thought it was great, man. It was scary. It had parts of humor in it. I thought, again, the low budget worked in its favor. It took away the polish. You also have, a pioneer trailblazing Tom Savini in here, which I didn't even know about until now. I love the narration. I also love that some of the way some of the shots are set up. I really like the one in the beginning where he's looking over the grave and the narrator, documenter, what have you, is looking at the camera and he just the journalist is just sitting there. So there's a lot of little things to like about this movie. So I definitely, man. Two Horns Way Up. Go check it out. Scary too in certain spots.
Yeah, it is.
And creepy as fuck.
Yeah, haunting. Really.
Yeah, the big difference between creepy and scary, but yeah.
Well, that's the thing. There's some. This isn't like a movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is out to get you.
Yeah,
it's out to menace you. It's out to grab you and shake you like crazy and scream in your face and rattle your cage. This is more, and mind you, it does a great job of getting under your skin too. Once again, that's the unfortunate hand that Deranged was dealt. Was
Yeah, and it's immersive too. Like it really makes you feel like you're there with Gein. And there's this one shot where he's just sitting there missing his mother, and it's a whole circular one take shot where they're seeing his environment, and you see the beans that he's cooking. You're seeing that he's cold and doesn't have money probably to make stuff, or he has to go hunt it, and he's all by himself, and there's no one. So yeah, that was another thing, very very immersive, and now also the lack of the music too puts you in there. So that's a scene right there.
Being his buddy at the very end.
Yeah,
and then remembering every single time he said, "Yeah, she's up."
You just popped the head off.
I didn't.
Yeah,
boyfriend too, man. The boy that we see grown up later, and and now he's got a girlfriend and everything, and oh god, it's like at that ending, I felt the worst for him. I was just like, oh my god.
Okay, I got a question.
Yeah, sure, Pops.
How much fun would it have been to be the prop guy on this movie?
Really?
Well, I know for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they got like an artist that made all of the furniture and the mobiles.
Yeah, I'm talking about all them corpses and shit, dude.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that was Alan Ormsby and Tom Savini and another fellow.
The drum, the bones, all that shit. How much fun would it have been to be the prop guy on this movie?
Who says you need to be the prop guy in the movie to make that stuff? You can still have that fun, Pops. There's still time.
No.
All you need is a shovel, Pops. All you need is a shovel.
I was just thinking the drum, dude. That drum was skin, dude.
Being the prop guy on a movie like that is as close as you can get to being that guy without being that guy,
right? Well, I mean, to me, that was the thing that really...
Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, Pops, you would make a good Ed Gein. Let's get a little separated at birth next to side by side.
That's why I got my mom way out in Albuquerque.
Okay. There's one of those faces. There's that.
Yeah, that bottom lip.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go back real quick where he's eating the chicken. Was it me? Well, you don't have to make it, but you guys remember him eating that? You remember right there. You remember him eating the Is he dipping that in a jar of peanut butter?
Yeah, he is. I was like,
okay.
I was like, that's gross.
I could understand a little bit if it was like gravy and he didn't have any dishes.
Oh, no, wait. You just said that's gross. Dipping chicken in peanut butter is the grossest thing you took from this fucking movie?
In the presence of a corpse, by the way.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I heard that. Nothing, like, I'm not having a go or anything like that. I just wanted to make sure that I heard that correctly.
Like, did I say that? Or was that Matt? Well, that was
probably
Matt.
Me.
Yeah, I think you said that.
But I'd probably try it.
Because I've had my mother's cooking, and I could do peanut butter on chicken.
I still think it's funny. Isn't that a bear? Wait, hold on. We're gonna settle this.
But I've actually had peanut.
I don't know why.
Chicken and peanut oil now, like Chick-fil-A. It's all peanut oil.
While talking to a corpse.
That's a
dipping the chicken in the peanut butter while talking to a corpse.
It says peen right there.
Look, I don't know what you've got against talking to dead things. I do it all the time. You've met John here, John Doe. I talk to him all the fucking time.
Yes.
Most of my friends are dead.
That's weird. See what I mean, guys? A prop guy on this movie just had a blast. Somebody was having a lot of fun.
Well, look.
That's pretty realistic. That one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
I mean, a lot of them do actually.
Yeah, it's really just disturbing. Frankie says eerie. Perfect word to describe this movie. Yeah, absolutely.
But see, it's not. Look, this is what I mean, though. It's like we had Margine on here last week, and we were talking about how they were all made up and everything, right? But those were people. These are corpses or mannequins or whatever, and just the guy who got to place move these around on the set and shit was having a blast.
He must have spent hours going, the pirate costume might be too much. Let's try the jester outfit next. Because if they didn't, I am disappointed. That's exactly what I would have done. I would have been like, okay, they've got to wear this very pretty dress, but I've got a whole wardrobe here.
Yeah.
And this fucker will end up in a Kermit the Frog onesie one way or another.
Oh my god. Well, look, you hope that,
Look,
that
that's what I mean. Come on,
you're making a horror movie.
Fun, fucking with all that shit.
I wonder how many times they had that trying to get the pose going and just lay the hands there and the coffee
That's
cup
what I
fell
mean.
out.
It's like, come
Screw
on,
it.
this is great.
So one on the far right looks like a straight up real lady, dude.
The
The
set,
mask
Probably
on.
is.
the
I
sets
think
are
it's
as
that
good
actor.
as the movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the way they set everything up. Look at
Mhm.
Lucifer with his lady's arm laying there on the table.
That's the thing. This is a movie that is, of course, the budget is non-existent, but it's just incredibly well made.
It's great, dude.
Yeah.
They knew what to
stuff right
focus
here
their
is
budget
great.
on.
Yes, absolutely. And I really wish Alan Ormsby had made more films. Like I said, I think the only parts of Popcorn that he directed that made it into the movie were the movies within the movie.
Yeah.
Like Mant, I think was one of them. Or maybe I'm getting that mixed up with Matinee, possibly.
I was about to say, Mant is Matinee.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. But he like shot like bits and Mosquito is what I'm thinking of. Yeah. And evidently, Bob Clark, like it was the '90s, so he was just like, no, we want to downplay that this is a horror film, and they had a falling out and never spoke to each other ever again, which is
Horror.
I find terribly sad. But you know what? Let's take a look at Ed Gein, Demon Hunter once again.
Oh yes.
See if you've moved any product.
Oh, it would be fantastic if we have. That would be absolutely great.
Can we make that happen, Pops, or shall I make that happen? Or Pops is probably off spanking his bong or something.
No, he's making like corpse props now.
Yeah, he's gotten ideas.
Now that he knows you don't need to be working on a movie just to make those props. That's
No,
it. He's
not
like,
at all.
let's have fun.
Yeah, no, you can absolutely make that happen, folks. All you need is a shovel and a dream.
I asked for both of those things from Santa, and he didn't give me either.
Wait, hold on, here we go. Refresh. All right, well, you got 46 backers.
That's
so
still
far.
awesome. That is still awesome.
It's not enough though. Damn it, it's not enough. Folks,
That's what I'm saying.
definitely go check this out. Lucifer is somebody who's obviously someone who's very serious about storytelling. Somebody that's obviously knows his horror films. By the way, I really enjoyed that stream I caught you on just the other day.
Which one was that?
God, I'm trying to remember what you and your friends were talking about.
Oh, we were talking about folk horror.
Folk horror, yes.
Oh,
yes.
that was an absolute scream. That.
Love that. That was terrific.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's been a lot of talk about folk horror lately, and then there was a documentary about it on Shudder. And I was digging it, and then it got woke. It got woke as fuck.
I know the one you're on about. It's called something like Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched.
Yes, that's it.
Because I started watching it thinking 3-hour folk horror documentary, sold, right?
Yeah.
And then I was about half an hour into it, and I was like, oh,
You're like,
shit,
whoa.
the bed, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
How did they do this?
Yeah, they did the same thing with their documentary about black people in horror noir.
I've heard that's a good documentary from a few people.
Well, you're gonna love the part. You're gonna love the part where they talk about like why Candyman is problematic and why it needs to be remade and corrected.
Sorry. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Sacrilege. Candyman is a
Candyman's, like,
phenomenal movie.
Yeah,
if you're gonna remake it, just remake the exact thing where he's from the short story where he's British and white, and otherwise leave it the way it is. It's perfect.
But yeah. I'm telling you, I was down for that documentary, and that's when they lost me. I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Like, what in the actual fucking hell?
That's just
yeah.
Love the art in this book, man.
I know, it's so fucking good.
Christian is a phenomenal artist, and believe it or not, he has actually done work on, like, I think it was Sergeant Rock and the Army of the Dead or something for DC Comics. He's done like some coloring work on there and stuff. Like, people sleep on Christian's work too much. If you
clearly. It's beautiful black and white art, because it's not like I look at this and think, oh, I'd love to see this in color.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, I it'd be cool, but it's perfect.
Matt's well, yeah, but like Matt, you're one of those artists where I'm telling you, I love you. I just like I think all your shit should just be in black and white.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I could be wrong. Well, I mean, that's the thing. But it's especially true, like, when I get art from from an artist that I'm working with. Like, when I get pages from Preston, I just look at those and I'm like, these are so beautiful. Can we just leave them like
How do you
this?
critique them?
Can we just print it like this?
Yeah.
And black and white has to be done just right, though. I've seen black and white that it's confusing. It doesn't lead the eye. In fact, it was Gabe Al-Taib that recommended framed ink, because somebody else was asking, I'm starting an artwork, what book should I get, and whatever. And he mentioned this thing I'd never heard of. It's one of the only books I've ever gotten about doing comics that I went from cover to cover. Like, I don't usually stop work to read anything. Yeah. But that one is really, really good. And it even starts out, it's about storyboard composition for movies. Almost everything is just in a frame like this. But then the part where it gets into like graphic design or the graphic novel and composing the page and leading the eye.
It's its own medium. When people,
I
think when people are like, oh, it's just like cinema. Oh, it's just like storyboards. No, it's not.
There's no eye leading at all. Like,
there's no eye leading at all.
Effect,
it's a completely different art form. They're related. I'm not saying that they're not related.
Yeah,
just say but even inside the panel, you have to have balance. It can't be confusing. Like, you see,
look
like
at this.
If you scroll down just a little bit so we can see that gated gated fence. I mean, not down, but up where the lady is. Up a little bit there. Okay, now you see how it's little things like this. No, normally, and maybe he might be able to get away with a healthier outline around her, not necessarily, but the point here is most of the forms are organic on her, but then it's backed up with crisscrossing diagonals. Everything's very mechanical, and just those two things, one pops the other one out, and in with two colors, and that's it.
Now, Lucifer, you're not an artist, right?
I have done.
Okay, so you're not a lowly, no talent, like, just a writer.
No, I focus on writing now. Like, my career started back in 2010, and when I started out, I couldn't find an artist for love nor money. There wasn't many online, and the only ones that I knew around here were no one. So I had to do it myself, and I've done a few books myself. Originally, Lady Satan, the book that's being done at the moment, I was doing the artwork for that, and I realized I'm not the right person to be drawing this book, and I need to focus on my writing more. That's what I wanted my career in comics to be, was as a writer. I just simply picked up doing the artwork as a means to an end, to get that career rolling and stuff, which I'm very glad that I did. But writing is my forte. I'm a writer first before I'm an artist. And luckily, me and Christian, we started working together, and it was towards the end of this book that I was like, dude, do you want to do Lady Satan? He's like, yeah, I'm in. So whether I'll draw a book again or not is still up in the air. You know, anything can happen. Never say never. But my focus is on writing. I've got diplomas in writing. I've studied the art form for so long. I've won awards for my writing. I've been published in the past for my writing. I even worked as a movie reviewer for a magazine many years ago.
Beautiful.
So it's best if I stick with that. It was a magazine called Hit the Floor.
Oh, sorry, not familiar with it.
Yeah, I wasn't at the time either, but they accepted me, so I was like, okay, let's do this.
Okay. My new favorite magazine.
Well, I mean, like when it comes to the UK and the UK horror fandom, you know, I'm mostly familiar with it through, of course, Starburst magazine.
Yep, absolutely.
Guys like Kim Newman, Mark Gaddis.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that your country still loves horror. And you know, I would love to see it come back as a cinematic force, right? I would love if, like, I mean, I know that Hammer Studios is technically back, but let's face it, it's not Hammer.
No, it isn't.
I would love to see, like, to me, that's always been a dream of mine, because I'm such a Hammer horror stan and a British horror stan, because, you know, I was lucky enough to be exposed to it when I was like at a very young age, where you know, on Saturday afternoons I'd wake up in the morning, watch Doctor Who real early, and
you're talking my language.
And then it was right into, like, usually like a Hammer, a Dracula, or a Hammer Frankenstein. And if you were lucky, sometimes on the midnight shows, you might catch Blood on Satan's Claw.
Ah, yes.
Which is Tygon, of course, not Hammer. But, you know, one of the great joys of being a horror fan has always been that element of mining, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where you're looking for, like, it's like you're panning for gold. You're going to sort through a lot of trash, you know. Hopefully, if it's like, you know, like Italian trash, it still goes down really good, right?
Oh, damn straight it does.
Fiction is the same way. You can't find decent science fiction hardly ever anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that big time.
When it comes to science fiction, man, if you grow up a horror fan, you're usually a fan of science fiction too. And
I mean, there's a lot of room in that Venn
horror as a combo is a very potent combination. Nigel Neal was especially really great at that, who did the Quatermass series.
Yeah.
And also did a BBC horror show called Beasts that was really good. It's just, I think British horror has always been more accessible here in the States because there isn't that language barrier.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's why there was never any Spanish horror on TV when I was a kid, was because they weren't dubbing it. You know, the Italians, thank God bless their hearts, were like dubbing like all of their really absolutely magnificent, trashy horror movies.
But another thing that helped you guys is your lack of censorship at the time. Because I mean, I was born in 82, so I was born at the birth of the video nasties. I got to see that firsthand.
Freedom of speech, baby.
Exactly. I'm a huge advocate for freedom of speech. I'm a member of the Freedom of Speech Union over here because we obviously we don't. Oh, I know. Did the All Black not give it away?
Did you? Here's the thing. We're gonna have a problem because you're problematic because freedom of speech is a bad thing. It means that anybody could be. So you're saying anybody should just be able to say anything?
Yeah. Because I'm that asshole. Because I'm that asshole.
Me too, to the core. Like, you know how there's certain people that have hard-ons for particular issues? And
Yes.
there's no way
Yes.
you're going to steer them in the opposite direction, so you don't even bother. For
Yeah,
some people,
absolutely.
that might be abortion, for instance. For other people, it might be whatever. For
Yeah.
me, censorship has always been that issue.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
like, so
absolutely,
you're telling me, motherfucker, that you know what's better for me than I know for myself.
Yes, I'm with you.
And what's better for
100%.
everybody that's listening to you too. So it's
Yes.
not. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It really. It's the thing that
So-
a lot of people that don't understand. It isn't censorship of speech. It's censorship of thought.
Yes.
So you are not allowing somebody to speak their mind, and thereby not allowing the people who might hear you to hear your mind.
Not only that. I mean, obviously, one of the reasons why I do support freedom of speech is because of the kind of storytelling that I do. I don't like to hold my punches whatsoever. You know, regardless of whether I'm telling a story for a younger audience or a mature audience, I want to hit you hard.
Dude,
right?
Here's the thing. When you or I are sitting down, or Matt or whoever is sitting down and writing a comic book, we don't ever have to stop and think, oh, wait, what about, would this like be misinterpreted in a particular way? We don't have those motherfuckers.
I have such fears of that. I really do.
Well, here's the thing. You just ignore them, and that's why we piss them off and why they're so offended by us, because basically it's like, oh, so you're saying the rules don't apply to you. It's like, no, I'm saying your rules don't apply to me.
Exactly.
Well, I guess I don't mean it in the way that you're saying, like if somebody going to be offended by what I'm writing. I honestly mean like misinterpret the main idea and think that the whole thing is weird.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, because here's the thing that I've learned about putting like meaning into your work, or a theme, or people gonna like understand where this is coming from. People are always going to come to their own conclusions.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Well, that's the death of the author. That's going to happen naturally,
right?
But
whatever it's about, let the audience tell you what it's about. The problem now is that writers are taking the subtext and they're making it the text. And
and they really shouldn't be doing that.
No, it's putting the cart before the horse. But I have to say, Lucifer, I really fucking resent the fuck out of you. Because you motherfuckers, like here in the States, you know, during like, you know, during the 80s, we were all up in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, fucking Evil Dead. Like when VHS came out, it was a shitty format, but suddenly, boom, you had a fuck ton of movies at your fucking fingertips.
Yeah.
As much as we felt like deviants and like we were doing something that we shouldn't ought to be doing, you motherfuckers were breaking the law.
Yes, we were, and quite fucking happily. Because I mean, like a lot of people don't who aren't from the UK, they don't understand. We didn't get The Exorcist until the year 2000. It was banned all the way from 74 up to the year 2000. I saw it before it was unbanned because, like you were mentioning earlier, I knew a guy who did some dodgy things with VHS, and the first time I saw The Exorcist, Dutch subtitles hard-coded into it. Best $5 I ever fucking spent. That was awesome. But not only that, we actually had filmmakers who resented that these horror movies were being banned. They were going out, getting these bootleg VHS. They were trading them at fairs on a black market and stuff. And then they were making their own movies. Like, I think it was Alex Chandon on Bad Karma or Drill Bit. At the end of it, where you normally get the Roman numerals to tell you what year the movie was made in, he just put "fuck the BBFC," because, right? And then his own movies that he's making pretty much in his flat for like what, half a Kit Kat, they're getting banned by the BBFC because they're that extreme.
Dude, that's so fucking punk rock.
Exactly.
So that's why I have like a secret and lingering hatred of you fans across the pond, because you were literally breaking the law.
But what they were doing just to get horror movies, the people on the other side of the Iron Curtain, the people on the other side of the Iron Curtain were doing just to watch anything.
Dude,
anything from the West.
Of course. Oh yeah, without a doubt. But that's where piracy became such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, piracy is a beautiful thing. Smugglers
I agree.
I wouldn't say, I'm not saying human traffickers, but smugglers smugglers let you know exactly what the economic value of something really is. I think it was his name's escaping me. I don't know why. Thomas Sowell. But he said that he was like, I love smugglers. Smugglers let you know when a commodity's price is being manipulated.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. And it's because of pirates that there are so many movies and TV shows that could have been lost to time. The master tapes are probably destroyed, but because of pirates, those things still exist. And the artwork spreads. Look, I know full well that issue 1 of Ed Gein is on a piracy website, and I'm more than happy to give them issues 2, 3, and 4.
Yes. I feel the exact same way when, because I always have a digital tier, and when somebody gets a book, gets a file from me that they just paid money for, I'm like, feel free to do, like, this now belongs to you.
Yeah.
And it's no different than making a copy of a CD or a VHS or whatever for a friend, right?
At the end of the day, your book exists to be read.
Yes.
Why put barriers in the way that stop people from fucking reading it?
Yes, absolutely. Could not agree more.
But you're not talking about copyright.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing. If somebody is selling my comic and making copies and selling my shit, now they owe me money.
Yeah.
If they copy my shit and just give it away, that's fine.
Absolutely.
I could.
Yeah, I know. I used to do that. Like if we've talked about the kind of house that I grew up in. I had to smuggle music and comics and stuff into it because it was,
I feel your pain.
In the throes of the satanic panic.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter what it was. If mom didn't understand it even for a second, then, the weird preacher's voice would start speaking through her, and it was no good. Battletech, because it was a role-playing game. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Not allowed. So just to give you an idea how stupid that was. So, yeah.
Well,
my buddies.
I'm sorry, ID. Can I just stop you really quick?
Sure.
In England, it was who? Mary Whitehouse was like the big figure.
Yeah.
That was our tipper. That was their tipper Gore, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, pretty much. And she wanted everything banned. Pretty much, she wanted the Sex Pistols banned. She wanted Doctor Who banned. She wanted the Goodies banned. There were even kids programs that, it's just fucking puppets. And she wanted them banned. She wanted Alice Cooper banned, and Alice Cooper, right, because she went out there going, he's evil and don't go to watch his show and all that. His ticket sales, they went up and up and up. So he sent her flowers.
Sure.
To say thank you.
That's exactly that's what happened when
that's punk rock as fuck.
It's just like that
yeah, well, there was
Sam Kinison joke about the tree of knowledge. I didn't want any until you told me I couldn't have it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Is like forbidden fruit tastes the sweetest. And I know like Evil Dead went down really fucking good. When I was a kid, I'm thinking, how much better would it have been if we'd been breaking the law?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, bear in mind, Sam Raimi, they tried to prosecute him over here for the Evil Dead.
Yes, they did. I remember hearing about that. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's mental.
Nowadays there are actual whole documentaries about the video nasties era. And the Damned had a song called Video Nasty.
Yes, they do, which I tend to cover whenever I'm playing an acoustic set.
I remember when the Supreme Court came down with the decision that it was not you were allowed to record things on your own video recorder, because the VHS came out. It was the beta and the VHS, and you were able to record things, and now all of a sudden everybody had a problem with it because you're not going to have to tune in. You're not going to have to every time you want to see the movie. You don't have to go to the cable box. You can pop.
Well, dude, one of the reasons why Italian horror came in a tsunami over here was because Hollywood was not putting its movies out on VHS. And when they did, they were prohibitively expensive. If you wanted a copy of Apocalypse Now or Alien, you're going to pony up $100 for it. Right? And they were like, well, we can't release our movies on video. People will stop going to the movies.
Right.
That's literally what they thought. And then Disney, of course, was about to go into bankruptcy. They were like in horrific financial shape. So they went, okay, so let's just all right, now we'll put our movies out on VHS and turn them into like the fucking the Blob. That's like eating the fucking world, eating the fucking planet. The IP eater. No.
Oh, dude. Yeah, they scooped up Frozen like 80 years ago.
Just rape it.
from Hans Christian Andersen.
Unfucking believable. Believable. Pops, how are we on time? Can we still hang out, or are we gonna have to?
You got 25 minutes.
Oh, okay. Are you guys?
I can get naked in that time. That's not a problem.
Okay. All right.
It is that kind of show, isn't it? Right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. If you want it to be Lucifer, it can be.
Stop it!
I was gonna make an espresso.
Bad boy.
By the way, what's up with Clive Barker? I heard that he's sick.
What? Really?
Yeah, I think he's been sick for a lot longer than they've said in the public. I mean, going back down memory lane, back when I started my career, like the first book I did was a book called Jericho, which was my take on a superhero story. Because
wasn't this? Well, this was a video game too, wasn't it?
That's Clive Barker's Jericho.
Okay.
My Jericho was something else.
Okay, gotcha.
Like I basically when I started, I got nothing against superheroes. I just didn't want to do a superhero story.
Right.
Same here.
But at the time, you try getting anyone to fucking read an indie book, let alone an indie book that isn't a superhero kind of thing. And I was like, well, I want to do my take on a superhero. Like, it's going to be fucking horrific. Like these science experiments that go wrong that create superheroes, they seem pretty tame to me. I'm like, yeah, in real life, it's not going to go down that way. Right. So I did this story. It was very personal to me as well, because at the time my dad was going through a long battle with cancer, and in 2010 he actually passed away. He got diagnosed in 2000 and was given 6 weeks left to live, and he looked at the doctor and went, "Fuck you, no, I'm living longer than that." And he literally did. He lived another 10 years, and I had already been working on the character at the time. So I came up with this idea of this very talented medical student at university who watched their mother pass away from cancer and saw how bad chemotherapy can be. So she creates this alternative, an acoustic glove that uses ultrasound to treat the cancer as an alternative to chemotherapy, but she does something wrong with it and it becomes an acoustic weapon. And this gets into the hands of the wrong people and she's trying to get it back. But whilst this is going on, there's a serial killer in the background who's killing terminally ill patients. And one of those terminally ill patients is this guy that she has been in love with for so long and has never plucked up the courage to tell them. So like I was working on that book at the time, and it was my very first convention appearance, and I had a manager, right? And this is how good the manager was. They didn't tell me till the day before. They were like, "Guess what? We're going to London." I was like, "Are we? Wicked. When?" And they were like, "Tomorrow." And I was like, "You fucking ass." Warning would have been nice. So packed up this car and got all this stuff in there. I've got all these issues and t-shirts and everything. And I'm like, yeah, my first convention. This is great. And we rolled up to Earls Court, which is this fucking massive venue. You could fit like 2 or 3 Concords in there and still have room to have a party. And rolled up.
I'm sorry. I was gonna like, wait, was that Oakley Court? No, I'm getting it mixed up.
So we rocked up there, and I've put boxes in his hand, and I got boxes in mine. And I'm like, so where's our table? And his response was, table?
Oh,
Right,
man.
after this
Oh,
weekend,
shit.
you're fucking fired. It's a
Oh.
3-day event.
Oh,
And I don't
man.
have a fucking table. How can I go up to people and go, I want to sell you a comic when I don't have a
Oh,
table?
oh,
Oh,
God.
man.
Right. So I just went, fuck it. I'll eat the loss. And I started handing out issue ones, and they were flying around like no one's business. And at one point, like I'm speaking to Corey Feldman, just chatting with him and stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I see these two guys and they're pointing at me, and then they're talking to each other, and then they're pointing at me, and I'm like, oh shit, have I done something wrong? Like, have I said like a dirty word in front of a kid or something?
Right.
You know? And I'm like, what? They're walking over. Shit, act cool. And then I'm looking at one of them, and I'm like, you look really familiar. You're Marty McFly's dad. Why the fuck are you walking over to me? And they had copies of issue 1 of Jericho, and they were like, we just read this. It's awesome. And someone told me that you're the writer. Can you sign it for me? I was like, fucking right, I can.
That's wonderful.
And
That's
then,
fantastic. Yeah, man.
And then I got in line to see Clive Barker, because I knew that he was there. And I've been a Clive Barker fan for a fucking long time.
Yeah,
so
you and me both, brother.
I really wanted to meet the guy.
Of course.
And I'm in queue, and I'm standing with all these people holding like the last copy of my fucking comic, and I'm like, I'm gonna give this to Clive Barker. Yeah. And we're waiting, and people keep coming out going, it's gonna be another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes. Like a couple of hours have gone by, and like some people, they're walking out. And I don't know what it was, but he must have had a stroke or something. And this is going back to like 2011 when this happened. Because by the time we could see him, they were like, we can only do an hour. So really sorry if you're at the ass end of the queue, because you are not going to get to meet him. And they were like, you can't do flash photography. You can only spend a few. You've literally got to give him what you want signed. He'll sign it. And then you've got to move on. And when he came out, he could barely walk. He needed two people to help him walk. His signing pens were taped up. So because he couldn't close his hands properly.
Oh, wow.
Right. And he sat there and he was literally like, hey, sign something. Hey, sign something. And then I came over and I was like, I want this signed. And I just want to say, huge fan. You've inspired me. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have written this book. And just handed him Jericho. And that's when he stopped the queue. It was like, whoa. I may not be well, but I want to take a look at this. And he read it cover to cover right in front of me. And I thought like, oh shit, what do I do? And as he closed it, he just went, this is fucking awesome. What's your address?
That's great, man.
Oh my God.
That is awesome.
That's fucking badass, dude.
Yeah,
like
awesome.
that was one of my finest fucking moments.
Better.
I know, right? I clearly fell into the right profession. I mean, like when I started my career, like I said, it was around the time that my dad died, because my dad was someone who, he was born near the ass end of the war and stuff. And he left school when he was like about 13, 14. He was just like, nah, fuck this. School's for stupid people. I ain't stupid. And he got like a really small loan and started his own business and built it up from there, right? Because he didn't want his kids to be poor or anything, or to experience any form of poverty like he had. So he was very money-minded, very frugal. And when he passed away, like I have a couple of siblings, and they got a little bit of money. I got fuck all. Absolutely nothing. Because I think, and this is no offense to my dad, I still have love and affection for my dad, but I think in a way I was the black sheep of the children, because they were the kids who were happy to go to work with him, get their hands dirty and do some like laboring work. And I was the kid that was like, hold up, I've got playtime. Okay. I want to write stories. I want to draw stuff, even if you can't tell that this circle, that shit, is the sun. I still want to do it, kind of. I wasn't interested in that.
Yeah,
stuff.
my father didn't approve of what I do either.
Yeah, my dad didn't approve until about the year before he died, because then he actually saw the fruits of my labor, and the first thing he said is, "How much did it cost? How much can you make from it?" Like always business minded. He was always trying to teach me stuff about business, which has definitely paid off along the way. And when he died, and I got the will, and they said like he's left you nothing. Because the other thing that I kind of neglected in this story is the fact that my mother has narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, so that was a very rough childhood.
Oh my god!
But it was also a very rough existence for him, and it wasn't it wasn't until he got his cancer diagnosis that he finally plucked up the courage to go, well, fuck this, I'm getting out of here. Okay, so he literally got the diagnosis, then packed his bags and went, fuck this, I'm dying, I want to live. Right, and when that happened, that obviously divided my family, and I was one of the only people who said, look, it doesn't matter what she's done. She still needs someone to be there for her. Right. You know, and
still your family.
Exactly. Whether you like them or not, they are still flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, there are 3 people involved in my existence: my mother, my father, and Barry White for making the album they played on that night. Okay?
I'm a BW man myself. Get the ladies, man. Get the lights turned low. Get the scented candles. Get a nice bubble bath going, and the foot rub, and the BW.
I gotta give the nod to Marvin Gaye.
No, he's a contender. He's a contender, but I'm a BW.
So because I had that bit of humanity to go, look, I may not like them, I may not approve of their choice in life or what they've done. I mean, it scarred me too.
Yeah,
like, you know,
dude, how could it not? Narcissism, for those of you that aren't aware of it, is a really pernicious personality disorder. And personality disorders, it's like you know, I work with like a depression bipolar support group, and we've had people come in, and we can help people, and it's fucking awesome, right?
Yeah.
And when we even have had people with other conditions like OCD, they come in, we've been able to help those fucking people, right? But the people that we could never help are the people with personality disorders. I'm talking about borderline personality disorder, narcissism, especially malignant narcissism.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I know overt, I know covert.
Yeah,
malignant is which one?
Malignant's really fucking bad. It's probably the worst one out of the lot. I mean, you've got 4 personality disorders. Okay, you got antisocial personality disorder, which is another way of saying sociopathy or sociopath. You have bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah, there's a class.
Bipolar's more of, but I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but bipolar is more of a mood disorder. Right?
Yes, but it is more of a mood disorder, but it's still classified as a type of personality disorder.
Okay.
And those 4 disorders are often confused for being one disorder, and that disorder is normally narcissism.
Right. That's what I mean. Like within narcissism, there is varieties. There's the overt narcissist. Can't stop talking about themselves. Yeah. The covert narcissist, or I guess
never forget that all of these labels are attempts to define things that are really difficult to define.
Right.
Or to really put your finger on. Right.
Oh yeah.
And
absolutely.
The thing is with the narcissist is they never admit that they can't admit to themselves that they are one, which is one of
that's because most of the time they don't actually know.
Yes.
Because in their mind, everything they're doing is absolutely fine. The problem with narcissism is the narcissist both absolutely hates themselves, but also believes that they are the chosen one, that they are God.
Yes.
Right, so they don't think that they're doing anything
wrong.
If you look at my Twitter feed ID, I've posted a number of videos about narcissism.
I have I have a few in my YouTube big playlist. They come up.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the older I get, the more I think, a lot of these conditions aren't as rare as we thought they were.
No, I don't think so.
Absolutely.
I think they're way more common than we realized.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's
they
are. It's like that. This
narcissism.
is the car I drive now, so these are the cars I see all the time.
Well, I mean, especially like sociopaths, I found this really interesting. they're really this blew my mind, and it explains so much of our society. Sociopaths are really great at ladder climbing. Like they're amazing at it, right?
Yes.
But once they get to where they're going, they suck at their jobs.
Oh, you're talking about the principle.
Because all they're good at is just taking out other people. But then once they're, ta-da, here I am. Oh, shit, what do I do now?
Chasing their tail.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
that's not the same as the Peter principle. That's something that a corporation does, not an individual.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's why so much of what we attribute to evil in our world is actually just stupidity and incompetence.
Yeah.
Because we live in a society that rewards people fucking taking each other out. Like that kind of malignant competitive nature. It's okay to be competitive if you're competitive in like a Muhammad Ali or like an Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of a way. Do you know what I'm saying? Where there's nothing negative there. It's just like, I'm going to blow your ass away and you're going to like, and just trying to keep up with me, you're going to go like way farther than you thought you could.
A motivational thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, bear in mind, I understand like a lot of this stuff because I've studied psychology and I've spent time working with people. I mean, I have an older sibling who is on the severe end of the autistic spectrum. So I've grown up as a young carer because he's about 16 years older than me. So when I was born into my family, it wasn't a case of now you can walk and talk, here's toys you can play. It was here's toys that you will never touch because you've got to help, you know, and that can be very tough. And when you're dealing with that as well as a parent who has a personality disorder, bear in mind, it was a long time before things clicked for me. And I had understanding of this, and that kind of pushed me into studying psychology and stuff. Yeah. I've worked with sociopaths. I've worked with people with borderline personality disorder. I've worked with children who have been sexually abused, as well as emotionally and physically abused, as well as people who have actually caused the abuse as well. So I have a lot of knowledge on this. I know I'm such a happy bastard, aren't I? I bring all the cheers and the smiles.
No wonder you're writing this book.
Yeah, no. I mean, very much what ID said. Boy, you know, I don't think I ever could have survived without horror. I think I always like to quote the great Rocky Erickson, may he rest in power. I always felt at home with horror. And I think
that Bernie Wrightson used to hang out in graveyards.
I still do.
Shocker.
Yeah.
I haven't in a long time. I think the last time was back in my goth days, back in the 90s or something.
Oh, you got to look back on those days fondly.
Oh, I do.
I'm not sure I'm out of them yet, but we'll worry about that some other time.
Hey, I'm slimming down. I can fit into like some of my old clothes that like smell like stale clove cigarettes.
Oh, I missed those.
The clove cigarettes.
But anyway, sorry to bring it back to my origin story.
No.
You're the guy
are
here.
the guest for the evening. We want to get to know you as much as we can, and also, of course, you know,
as I said,
promote your dope ass looking comic. And everybody, by the way, check that link. It should be in the chat.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're unsure about it, please go to my website. It's luciferstorm.com. Sign up to my mailing list, and you'll get the first issue as a digital copy for free. So you can always check that out first if you wish.
Now you see,
remember, I told you it's the end of #1 that makes you go, what?
Now you see, that's the Chad move. That's the Chad move right there. It's like give me your money, and then I'll send you a comic that you might or might not like. He's like, no. Fuck you. Here's the comic. Read it, check it out, and you're going to be so blown away by it that you're going to be like, oh.
Look,
and then I got you.
That's all there is to it.
And like ID, you mentioned earlier that like when you first heard about like Ed Gein Demon Hunter, you were kind of like, oh, I don't know, a bit cautious, which is understandable. A lot of people have been that way. I mean, this book has been submitted to several publishers who have all turned around and said the writing's great, the story's awesome, the artwork, wow, we're not fucking touching it though.
Well, and it's not even the Ed Gein thing. It's there's
everybody's afraid right now. Everybody's afraid.
Yeah. It's not
Everybody's
that.
afraid.
It's that there's this hunter, there's that hunter, and there's another hunter, and things are hunting things. There's a lot. It's like there's like an explosion of werewolves all of a sudden.
Yeah,
or
there's
like trends of stuff.
I can't do Southpaw, my werewolf comic, which I've been working on for years.
What a great fucking title for a werewolf comic as well.
The thing is, when he did #1, there was no Jack the Ripper vampire hunter.
Right. Well, of course, now
they followed him. So
whenever it got around, whenever it got around to me, and I'm in just more on a personal note, we've had to do a huge necessary project to the house that kind of it took me for a loop financially. So there was a lot of I refer to them as garage band creators that I would have normally and not even to put you in that group, because this is a much more well produced book, but I've had to be really selective about what I decide to pick up until this year was over with.
Everybody's in that place right now.
But I still understand that aspect of it as well when it comes to the title being like, but we've got this hunter and that hunter, and there's even a Winnie the Pooh demon hunter out there now, believe it or not.
Wow!
Which when I saw that. When I saw that on Twitter, I actually messaged the creator, just being like, Winnie the Pooh, Demon Hunter, chainsaws. I'm fucking in. Let me know when this campaign goes live.
I love hunting shit. I'm all about the hunt.
There's lots of similarities, but I don't care about that. It's
the fact that you got the end when all that fiber fill explodes from Winnie the Pooh's body.
I can't wait.
I mean,
knock the stuffing out of Winnie the Pooh.
It's a gimmick, right? It's a gimmick. Something like Six Gun Gorilla. It's a gimmick, right? But
you gotta have a hook.
But this is the thing.
Then you have to deliver the story.
You do have to have a hook.
Absolutely.
My guy carries 2 of them.
Absolutely. Yes, right now, you need the hook. You need to deliver on the story, and even if you're not concerned, because it's like, oh god, Ed Gein and he's the lead and stuff and all that. Look, I've already pitched the book as a horror story. Now, Brian's already mentioned the difference about like text and subtext. So I've given you the pitch from the text point of view. Now let me give you the pitch from the subtext point of view. Right. This is the story of a middle-aged man coming to terms with the fact that his mother abused him.
Oh.
That's what this story is about.
Right.
Okay, so like if anyone's put off by the Ed Gein bit, here's the dramatic part that will really fucking capture you.
Right. And that is really when you get your audience. When you get them by the heart, when you actually get them to feel something that they were not expecting at all, when you give your story a certain depth they were not expecting to find, that's when you got them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I can understand if people are like, yeah, you're just saying that. Well, let me just point one thing out. I won't give everything away because otherwise you won't have fun reading the book, and I want you to have fun reading the book. One thing that is very common with people who have suffered abuse as children is they develop PTSD. What better metaphor for PTSD than being stuck in a hell loop where you're reliving a traumatic situation over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Abusers love to silence their victims.
Yeah.
The demon in this story, every time you see them actually attack someone on the page, it's always to do with either their tongue or their jaw, because it's a way of silencing them. There's lots of depth to this book because there's lots of layers, because I'm not one of those people who buys the whole, we make comics, that's like making hamburgers or ice cream or hot dogs. I'm not that guy. I treat my comics, when I write them, I treat them the same way I treat writing a novel, as a serious fucking art form. Yeah, I put blood, sweat, and tears. Most people, when they were, I say most people, and this is not to put anyone down, because there are some great creators out there who take that attitude towards their comics of like, it's just hamburger, it's just this, that, and the other. Nothing against them, right? Nothing against them. But those are the people who walk up to a blank page and go, I need to put words on it. I don't. I walk up to a blank page and I bleed on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Spill your guts. Yeah. So do I. Because here's the thing. How can you expect other people to be passionate about your story if you're not passionate about your story?
Absolutely.
And horror is just such a perfect genre in which to spill your guts.
Horror
I think that's
and
a great way to end the show, that he puts blood on the page. I don't think anybody can top that.
Dude, seriously.
And then I fold it in half, and then I see a butterfly.
Lucifer, you are officially a member of the Horror Movie Club family.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm in.
I remember my first time.
If it's cool with you, I'll add you to the DM group.
Yeah, please do.
And if you just get sick of it and you go, nah, and you just leave the group, don't worry, I'm not going to get all butthurt. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, it's cool.
We have a casual stream. People show up like when they feel like showing up. And
yeah, that's awesome.
The cool thing about this, Lucifer, is we're moving the show to Saturday night, and it's going to start right about the time you're getting home from the pub.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you say that, but I'm an early bird nowadays. I'm asleep 7 p.m. and up at 3 a.m.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, if he's old for the video nasties era.
You're starting this Saturday?
Yeah, no more.
Yes.
Okay.
No more Saturday with Maniac Cop. 8 p.m.
9. What time were you starting?
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 o'clock. I wanted to do Maniac Cop 2 because it's the best of the series.
Okay, yeah.
But
let's do one and then
we're not going to just do that. We got to do Maniac Cop 1 because, of course, my boy Matt is a big Bruce Campbell stan. And
yes.
So we're doing.
Oh, Matt. Next time we're on a stream together, Matt, I'll tell you about when I met Bruce Campbell.
Oh, nice.
Oh, there you go.
I want to hear that one.
All right. I'm Pops. You guys know what's up.
Hey, Pops.
Yes. And
I will see you Saturday night.
Okay. Right. Does anybody else want to mention where they can be found? Do we have time
I'll go first. I'll just say the website, idcrisisdesign.com.
Okay.
That's it. idcrisisdesign.com, and you can find everywhere else from there.
Pops.
Right here on the Madness Comic Network with 27 weekly shows and more coming.
The madness. And Matt, tell these fools where they can find you, my friend.
What's up, guys? You can find me on Twitter at RuneCutter Comic. You can also check me out on YouTube. My channel is Metal Movies and Brewskis, where I talk about metal movies and brewskis and comics. And if you guys want to support me, you can pick up my book, Butch Cleaver 2. It's on Indiegogo. It's butchcleaver.com. Thanks. Guys.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll get one of those bottle openers that are like a nice weight to them.
8 left. So.
Oh, dude, seriously, I want to put one like in a sweat sock and like turn it.
We don't play that.
And Lucifer, tell these fine folks where they can find you and your work.
Well, usually you can find me at about silly o'clock in the morning outside shouting at parked cars about important subjects like the sock gap. Look it up. It's very important. You guys are missing out. But failing that, you can find me at luciferstorm.com. And remember, you need to feel comfortable in your own skin because it's clearly illegal to wear other people.
Yeah, boy. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, go check out Ed Gein, Demon Hunter, which is live right now on Indiegogo. I just backed it, and I can't wait to read it. And you can go to Lucifer's page, and he'll send you the first issue for free.
5 days left, folks.
Yes, 5 days. 5 days.
You gotta get it there.
All right, folks. Maiden, what up? Oh, what
hey,
up,
Maiden.
Good to see you, darling.
Got it.
Yeah, no, I gotta.
It'll save your life, trust me.
Brian,
we will do an investigation. Yes.
Let's do the heavy metal thing, but let me play Lucifer's friend Nick's sponsor ad on the way out.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, folks, we will see you next week with Maniac Cop. So until then, peace, love, and metal.
Hell yeah.